хүсдэг.
Хасууны कुरा нагорно साथी.
Сайн байна уу? Би Монгол улсаас оролцож байгаа Stalwart e-sport-ын тамирчин Action байна.
Сайн байна уу? Монгол улсыг төлөөлж байгаа Stalwart e-sport-ийн багийн тоглогч Билүүтэй байна. тоглолтын нэр Scry.
नमस्कार मेरो नाम चाहिँ अन्जन राई हो र म DRS गेमिङको प्लेयर हो
नमस्ते सबैजना मेरो नाम चाहिँ उगेन छोपेल लामा
Hello everyone, I'm Sifu from Team Derais guys.
नमस्ते म चाहिँ डी रेटेड सर टिमको नाम चाहिँ डेराइज गाइज अनि हामी चाहिँ नेपालबाट
मेरो विचारमा चाहिँ हाम्रो रिजनबाट स्टालवर्ड स्पोर्ट्सले नै जित्ने छ
Ер нь бол энэ жил BTR-ага авраг авах ягаад гэвэл тэд өнгөрсөн үед авраг авч ирсэн болохоор бид шинэ багч гэсэн энэ жил хүчтэй өрсөлдөж юу чаддгийг харууллаа.
Yeah, Star Wars is a strong team, but so are East League teams. There won't be any easy or hard groups. Everyone is stronger here, and the competition has never been tougher.
यो टुर्नामेन्टमा चाहिँ जे पनि हुन सक्छ र प्रथम इस्ट लिगको प्रथम हुने टिम यो टुर्नामेन्टमा अन्तिममा जान पनि सक्छ र के थाहा कसैलाई के थाहा हामी डेराइज प्रथम हुन्छौँ कि
Тоглогч нарт бол итгэлтэй маш их чухал. Манай бүсийн бүх тамирчид багууд бүгдээрээ сайн, бүх мэрэгчдийн тамирчид номер 1 яхахыг хүсдэг.
Мароккогийн багууд тоглохоор байсан. Тэгээд тэртээ тоглох болохоор цагийн зөрүүнд өглөө байдаг болохоор тэднэрт хэцүү байгаа хаа.
त्यसैले मलाई चाहिँ अरूको लागि एकदमै दुःख लागिरहेछ केही छैन सक्दोसम्म चाँडो सकाइदिउँ अनि अरूलाई चाहिँ होलिडेमा पठाइदिउँ है
धेरै राम्रो भइसक्यो गेम अब त यसो बिदातिर पनि जानु पर्ला
Та нарын итгэлтэй байдал бид нар жоох инээдтэй санагдаад байна.
हसाउने कुरा नगरन साथी
East бүсэд юусоо сул баг гэж байхгүй. Та нар хүснэгтийг тэргүүлээгүй хэр удаж байгаа вэ? Бид нар та нарын хэлсэн үгийг харамсуулахын тулд бид нар та нараар кино хийх болно.
हाम्रो लागि चिन्ताको विषय भनेको नि चाइनिज टिम मात्र हो
Бид нэр зөв өмнөд Азийн багуудтай тоглохыг маш их хүсэж байна.
सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ हामीलाई चाइनिज टिमदेखि चाहिँ उनीहरुसँग भिन्न एकदम इच्छुक छौं हामी सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई हामी हराउने एकदम कोसिस गर्नेछौं
Тал нутгийн аваргуудын хүчийг удахгүй мэдрүүлнэ та нарт.
र म चाहिँ र हाम्रो टिम चाहिँ के भन्न चाहन्छु भन्दाखेरि सबै टिमलाई हामी चाहिँ कोहीसँग डराउँदैनौँ र हामी आउँदैछौँ सबैजनालाई एलिमिनेट गर्न
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الخوف والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
كريبتيف وين؟ السلام عليكم معكم مهدي شرقو من فريق كريبتيف المغربي أحد ممثلي الشرق الأوسط في بطولة PMGC.
Hello everyone, I'm Raouf from Nigma Galaxy, originally from Algeria.
بإذن الله جايين هالموسم عشان نحقق المركز الأول في الشرق.
I really admire the Chinese team, Nova Esports.
أتوقع أن تيمات جنوب شرق آسيا والتيمات الصينية تيمات قوية وإحنا مو تيم ضعيف وكريبتيف قد التحدي بالبطولة.
I think the first team in East League might be a Chinese team, but the finals are guaranteed to no one.
مثل ما قال نجم كريكسي الليج مو نفس الأول بالفاينل الفاينل أهم ومع قوة الفرق الشرقية هدفنا السيدة.
These goals are too conservative. Our main goal is to win the finals and be top one.
الكلام الكثير ما له فايدة. إذا بدكم تثبتوا حالكم اثبتوه على خريطة إيرانجل.
I think our mentality is fine. It might be easy to get ahead of ourselves, and we lost some games in season 2 as a result, but we will not make those mistakes again. And I think we're mentally stronger than any other team.
العقلية القوية مهمة لكن قدرة اللاعب الفردية هي تحدد بين الفوز والخسارة.
بما أنه نحكي عن عقلية تيمنا كثير قوية وما راح نسرع بالفاينل وما خايفين من الخسارة وأنا واثق كثير من تيمي أنه راح نسوي شيء بالفاينل.
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الفوز والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
Nice.
You need to trust your teammates, but when it comes to teamwork, we can show you how it's done.
داخل الجيم أكيد راح نتصادم مع الفرق الثانية وأتوقع راح يكون في كر وفر بينه وبين الفرق الآسيوية ولكن أنا متحمس لتدميرهم مرة ثانية.
تاكتيك شبه الفرق اليابانية والكورية قوي لكن الشيء اللي يفرق داخل الجيم هو المهارات القتالية وكريبتيكس ما راح يرحم أي فريق.
كريبتيف وين؟
我们会争取给他们最差的游戏体验。
希望你们可以多加的练习努力拿到第4名。
大家好，我是来自中国佟家堡战队的打手。
大家好，我是来自中国佟家堡战队的墨竹。
大家好，我是来自中国 NV 腾讯市民战队的居民。
大家好，我是来自中国赛区 NV 腾讯视频战队的 Powerboy。
大家好，我是来自中国赛区 ST 战队的苏南。
Hello， 大家好，我是来自中国赛区的 ST 战队的山治。
我对我们自己战队还是很有信心的。
对自己战队的实力的一个评价，我觉得我们战队还是很猛的，毕竟我们拿到了 S4总决赛的冠军嘛。
感觉在国内可以低调一点，但在国外毕竟必须给狂一点。
参加这次 PMGC，我们 NV 的目标其实还是希望可以和去年一样的水平和成绩。
我们战队一直以来的目标都是冲刺冠军。
因为觉得在国内既然都拿了一次，我觉得努力一点，在国外也拿一个回来。
打职业的目标就是冠军，所以没有战队会对我们造成威胁。
我觉得这次最大的竞争对手是 NV 吧，同家宝就算了吧。
能挑过吗？啊，那我就说没有是不是有点过分啊？
我只喜欢我们自己的战队。
对于海外战队说，其实中国战队是一个比较大的一个竞争对手。对于我们自己而言也是这样的。
既然你们认可我们的实力，我们也不会让你们失望。
他们的眼光是挺好的，然后就是我们会争取给他们最差的游戏体验。
Nice。听说有2支 ST 战队。
我希望另一支 ST 能够害怕到我们吧，毕竟其实我觉得我们这支 ST 一定比他们更猛。
国内的3个战队都是很强的，我们冠亚季都包了，你们准备一下谁去抢那个第4名吧。
希望你们可以多加的练习，啊，努力拿到第4名。
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
PUBG Mobile fans around the world, welcome to the 2021 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. To the top teams across all regions, we have a message for you. The Middle East, you have proven your worth. Now, make your formidable debut on the PMGC stage. South Korea, forget the past. This year, show the world you've ascended. Remind the world of South Korea's raw talent. Japan, you came so close last year. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Bring it back better than ever. The Americans, you're the alpha dogs that dominated the West. Now, lead the pack on the world stage. Southeast Asia, you took down so many strong teams on your journey to the top. It's time for a comeback on the global stage. Europe, it's now or never. Push your limits and surprise us all. This is the moment to create your legacy. South Asia, you were the dark horse of 2020. Amaze those who would underestimate you again. China, you carry the crown of last year's PMGC. Now, with everyone's eyes on you once more, can you secure back-to-back victories? PMGC needs a champion. The world needs a champion. Who will stand victorious in the end? Who will be next to glory?
Hello, PUBG Mobile fans. It's almost time to bring together the world's top teams for the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021. This year's PMGC has a total prize pool of $6 million for teams and players, and tons of great rewards for our fans as well. PMGC will consist of 2 stages, League and Grand Finals. The League phase will last from November 30th to December 24th. During the League phase, teams from the Americas and Europe will compete in the West League, while teams from Asia and the Middle East will compete in the East League. Each league, 20 teams will compete on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 16 slots to compete on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in that week's Super Weekend. The total Super Weekend scores over the first 3 weeks will determine which 16 teams will compete in the PMGC League Finals during the final week. The top 9 teams from the East League Finals, the top 6 teams from the West League Finals, and a special invited team will advance to the PMGC Grand Finals. The PMGC Grand Finals, which will take place on January 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, will determine the PMGC 2021 Global Champions. Who will be the next to glory? Don't miss a single minute of exciting PMGC action.
You at home, welcome back to the PMGC, the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021. This is the East League. Westwood Cup later on today, but we all know out there, all of you watching, East is better than West. Yeah, suck that much, that's Dave.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, we talk about what's coming up today. It is our second Super Weekend. It is day 1 of our second Super Weekend, and we have some new teams coming to the party. They brought their turnips, their economy is flourishing, and they're ready to sell them to all the teams, taking all those delicious points and climb up those leaderboards. Jason Kappa, I'm your host, joined by Maxman and Professor Tarzan here on the very end. Tarzan, you are looking smiley, happy, ready to go?
Know. Yes.
Like,
it's
rested?
a good thing, right? It's a good thing. I mean, I'm rocking for some change today. Like Blank told me that I've got some hoodie game, so I'm going for a bit of a change. Hopefully, it will help things. And I mean, Max got a T-shirt as well, but that's nothing new.
Well, as you can tell, we like to class it up here on PMGC. You know, we got a hoodie, we got a T-shirt. At least one of us showed up looking pretty decent, and that's Maxman actually. How you doing, Max?
I was expecting to get absolutely trashed at the start of the show, but yes, Jason, thank you. I done my hair a little bit better, I think, today, so we're doing good. But as you said, we got some new teams. We're gonna have BGR FaZe, and I'm hyped to see if they can try and make a comeback happen in the second Super Weekend. So it's gonna be a great day today.
Yeah, if you guys at home, if you have not seen any of PMGC so far, let's remind you about how the format of this entire event works. It's a 3-week-long event with, of course, 3 weeks of league play and 3 weekends of super weekends. Now, the league play, you play 8 matches a day, or 8 matches in total across 2 different days, I should say. The top 16 teams at the end of those 2 days of play will move into our super weekend, where all of those points will stick around throughout the entire event. Like Maxman, when you try to get rid of them, when you try to go out and do some chores. And at the end of those 3 super weekends, which you play out 15 matches per weekend, the top 16 teams will go into our league finals. And that's where things get really difficult for you, because you're not fighting to say top 16 out of 20 teams. You're fighting to be top 9 out of 16 teams. And those 9 teams will move through into our grand finals coming up in January. And you can see here what they're playing for. Gentlemen, $6 million on the line. That could buy you a lot of turnips.
Yeah, as we were saying before, I would like if the 6 million was written in your beautiful handwriting, Jason. It's magnificent. I think way better than any font could ever be. But yeah, 6 million throughout the big portion of this tournament is going to be great to see who will be able to take home a big portion of that prize pool. And I mean, if you win back-to-back at the league stage and also win yourself the grand finals in January, like, you're going to go home with like a millionaire, basically, as a team, of course, not individually, but still a millionaire team, which I don't think many can say that they've become a millionaire team in esports as a whole. So that would be a great achievement for whoever's able to make it to the top.
Yeah, but they can't count their bucks just yet. They're not ready to do that because they still have to obviously get through our super weekends and get into our league finals, and of course continue to progress from there on. But as you've mentioned, Max, FaZe Clan, BTR, Professor Tarzan, you obviously weren't with us for the last day of play when it came to the league stage. I'm just curious about your thoughts, and obviously your thoughts about the teams who re-qualified or qualified for the first time and the teams who didn't qualify.
I think it's great for these teams, right? Like 3 out of the 4 teams that didn't play last week were able to make it, and you are led to believe that they've done their work, you know, just sitting there, not the chance to play, but prepare, watch, do a lot of VOD reviews, and got it through. I mean, it's not an easy week with Sanhok in the mix as well. So it's good to see them come back, as I think especially Damwon Kia, because they were a team that was quite disappointing, but they are sitting pretty comfortably. But transitioning into Super Weekend is always not easy.
You know, Tarzan, I'm a little disappointed, but don't worry, because if you look at the team list here, there's one massive team missing. Nova did not qualify into our second Super Weekend. But that worries me, Max. Is this replicating the performance from last year where they didn't qualify? I believe it was in the second or third Super Weekend. I can't remember which off the top of my head. But they still went on to win the entire event.
Well, I think we got to stop saying BTR prank, okay? I think that's not valid anymore. I think we've got to start saying this Nova prank that's happening right now, okay? They're just taking a little bit of a break, a small vacation before going into that third Super Weekend, which I'm pretty sure they're going to try their best to make into that tournament. They're still trying things out in the middle of the tournament, so that's pretty much expected from Nova. But man, looking at these rankings, 155 points here, Jason. 70 eliminations from Infinity, absolutely shredding it so far in this tournament. But when you've got 4 rivals, DRS and Nova, trying to potentially catch up. I mean, Nova not going to be catching up, obviously, because they're not making it in the Super Weekend, but they've started off strong, and they're going to try and hold on to that huge lead they already created for themselves in that first Super Weekend.
Exactly, and obviously that was a great start. They had a really good performance as well when it came into our league play, leading the pack here. I think at 100 and was it 110 points. Actually, Star Wars Esports passed them at 140. But as we look down the list, Nigma Galaxy, I mean, this is very important here for Nigma Galaxy to requalify Tarzan because they are bottom of the table.
It's huge, like, for them to come back the second week to do a little bit better. But I love to talk about how teams get their points, right? Because we've got Sanhok in the mix. So I think Raouf, from the way that he was playing the heal strat, was so key into getting them back into Super Weekend 2. And this is the time to prove themselves because there's a lot of catching up to do.
We can see kind of our stand-up players, or some of our stand-up players. Newsy, I mean, he was on everyone's mind when it came to the Super Weekend last week. And of course, as they played out throughout this week in League play, though they didn't even use him day 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because, well, they didn't need to. They were already qualified through, Max.
And we talked about this with Kalaris on the desk extensively, saying that this is the best moment to get experience for your subs. So they had Near coming in, had a little bit of a struggle here and there, but at the end, it's still really valuable experience that he can bring potentially to the team later on if there's a need to have him sub in at some point in time. But Newsy's not even the player that really stands out to me. When you're looking back at this second league play, I'm looking back at Logan. He was the top 3, the third best player in terms of overall eliminations, getting himself a total of 17 over those 8 games. He was impressive, which is great to see because we maybe have that little thought process of, oh, we've seen a lot of Newsy, he's kind of doing a lot of the work solo. No, that is not at all the case, I would say, Tarzan, because Logan's doing great, Mella's doing fantastic also in his own regard. Like, the entire team is definitely pulling their own weight. It's not just Newsy.
The great thing about this team is they have good roles when it comes to approaching a fight. Like, that is very, very key, and sometimes that is how team dynamics work. But the thing is, sometimes with that type of idea, you would say, hey, then some of the players would have their stats suffering, right? But not really the case when we look at those total damage like a few days ago. Out of the top 5, 4 of them are from that main roster. So they are for sure finding the way through decoding, finding the best way to play this game so far.
I mean, we were talking a lot about Paraboy. If you talk about the Infinity, I mean, Paraboy was like leading them in damage for the whole time. I'm not sure if at the very end he still held on
was
to
still
that
there.
strong.
Paraboy was the top 4 in terms of elimination at the end of the league play, and in terms of overall damage, he was top 3, right behind Action and Top, which are you going to be Action and Top after how good of a league play they had? It's pretty hard, but the fact that they did not qualify and that Paraboy is that high is so impressive, Jason.
I mean, it was a 74-point difference between the Infinity and Nova, and Paraboy was still rivaling them at the top of the table. That's honestly a true testament to how strong of a player he is. But as we can see here, the schedule for today and the next 2 days, it'll be Erangel, Miramar, Erangel, Sanhok, Erangel. So we're not gonna be having 2 or 3 Sanhoks a day anymore. There's not 2 or 3 Miramars like we saw in week 1, but we will have 3 Erangels. So for the teams who have a very strong Sanhok, I mean, obviously it's great to be able to put up consistent points like the Infinity does, but you have to be a more rounded out team and definitely a team who can play on Erangel a little bit better here, Tarzan.
Yeah, for sure. And we talk about adjusting and preparing for Super Weekends and thinking about certain teams not being in the lobby. And I think it's quite interesting that Nova's not making it. Of course, it's a heartbreak for a lot of people, but the fact that it opens up GATCA very early on may be a huge point for some of these teams into claiming some early priority positions, maybe on the Western shift, right? So that is the type of changes that we're looking for maybe in the macro sense of things.
Yeah, and obviously, I think for me, it's about how teams adapted from week 1 to week 2. Again, it's not like do or die time right now for any of these teams. It's not like you need to put up big points to try to qualify, unless maybe you're Enigma because you're sitting really low at 47. But again, it's about creating that buffer for you. I think the pressure for any team out there is mostly towards your Bigatron and your FaZe Clan, right? And Damwon, because they have 0 points. They need to catch up to Enigma. They need to catch up to these bottom tier teams. And if you're one of the teams like Nova, well, I guess maybe not Nova, but Deadeye's guys and DX Xavier, there is a chance that these teams could catch you and pass you. So you're sitting there watching, biting your nails, getting really worried. The pitter-patter of sweat landing onto the ground of, trying to hold on.
I think that's Imperial from a distance. We can hear him. He's definitely sweating a bit for a few of the teams now. But yeah, as you said, there are some teams that now are going to be a little bit stressed out, a little bit in the head, because you're looking at Enigma Galaxy, Cryptic, Stung Jiabao, and even Stalwart, really, when it comes to Super Weekend, have shown relatively strong inconsistencies. And that is something that can be a main threat to your top 16 position when BTR and FaZe Clan, I mean, they showed it, both of these teams, and even Damwon get himself a top 3, actually, in the league play, that they are hungry to make in that top 16. They're hungry for these eliminations, hungry for these placement points. So Enigma Galaxy, Cryptic, Stung Jiabao, if they have a bad day, they could very quickly fall out of relevancy in that top 16. So they got to be careful, because as a fact that BTR, FaZe, and Damwon, they are going for that top 16 as soon as they possibly can.
Okay, well, I think one big detriment that could happen for some of these teams if your opponent is using a 1+9, which fun enough is actually your sponsor here at PMGC, with its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers. The 1+9 and 9 Pro are your best shot to climb the leaderboards. I swear, Maxman, you would be the perfect hype man every time, because you always got my back, no matter what I say.
I am trying, man. Okay, yeah. Every time you got to do call outs, I'm like, I'm gonna hype them up because it's a good product. Also, I wish I had one. I can have it potentially as my camera. It will look real good. I would look just like Tarzan almost, but it's not quite able to get rid of my blemishes, unfortunately. So it's fine. Okay. I don't want to touch this, because I'm gonna get a little bit in trouble. But so as we move forward into the Super Weekend, I am curious though, your guys' view of what teams are you really focused on when it comes to performing? If you're obviously like, the Infinity, who's sitting top of the table when it comes to Super Weekend, I think if we talk about, obviously Bigatron, Damwon, and FaZe Clan, they need to get points, a lot of points to catch up. But for the Infinity, for me, it's important to see, can they maintain that level of play we've seen over the course of this last entire week with League Play Week 2 and Super Weekend Week 1? I would have to say I think that they can make it very clearly, right? Of course, this was also you can't.
Well, no. So,
yeah.
My question isn't about the Infinity. It's about other teams that you're looking at. Like,
Okay.
are you just hoping to see a change in performance? Like, is there some teams that maybe let you down in terms of like what you did see, and you want to see them step up? Is there like some negatives or some lacking of skill in some areas?
That's what I was going to say. Like Infinity, we expect them to still do well. So if you're looking at teams that you expect them to potentially contest, I'm still looking at Stalwart. They even had an interview that was posted on the YouTube that I definitely recommend a lot of people go check out. And then when more in depth about their first Super Weekend and said that they had a really good start, but they know that there was a lot of hiccups and mistakes that they improved upon, they said, potentially going into the second Super Weekend. So I think that if there's a team that I'm looking to potentially improve and that has improved that we saw in that second league play to catch up to the likes of Infinity for rivals DRS towards the top, I would say it is Stalwart Esport right now, because they've just shown some impressive things in that second league play.
Great one, Max. I think echoing what you said, because obviously you asked me to check out that video as well. The other STE team was in there. 628, like Stalwart Esports, they felt a little bit flat halfway through the last Super Weekend. So when they come in with a lot of confidence, and they actually said as well, like Su Yang, the person who got those 1v3 clutches that send them into PMGC, he said, well, we actually have some targets, right? We want to hunt down Reject so that they can't reach the finals. That's a huge statement. So I think the STE brothers here, not exactly brothers, but you get what I mean. Both of them have some plans and they've got some points to prove.
Man, I feel like there's like so many other teams you could want to focus on, like I don't know, Bigatron. I mean, you could like hit one of like the biggest teams in the world and be like, nah, we're keeping you out. But hey, I mean, I feel like Reject have been able to put on a really good performance, all things accounted for, and I'm really happy to see they've been able to actually improve quite a bit since last year. I mean, you hear in the video, Japan, they came so close last year. Right now, Reject's looking like they're going to be able to get a lot further than they were able to previously able to do. Looking on the list, though, I mentioned TJB. I think teams seem pretty good. Maybe talk a little bit about.
Here's the thing, guys, we talk about where the points come from. I think that's quite important and factor in maybe momentum. We know they started week 2 league play with a huge bang of 32 points, but they only got I shouldn't say only, but they got 67 points, so it's almost half of what they've got through that league play. Then you have to ask, how much of their following performance was due to a very strong start, and can they replicate that here?
I want it. I mean, Team Secret is just, as Jason said, I couldn't describe it any better, right? It's a team that's going so far under the radar, but all you have to do is be top 16, and if you want to make into the grand finals, you've got to be in that top 9, which as of right now, they've been consistently towards that top 5 position. There's always been really consistently up there, but not always the team getting chicken dinner after chicken dinner like we saw from Stalwart in the second league play. So I think Team Secret, if they just keep cruising through the entirety of the league stage, then make into the finals and hopefully in the grand finals in January, that's when we might see them actually go full tryout, full throttle in that kind of event. And I think that they could be a team to contest towards the top because Team Secret has always been relevant in the scene at this type of level. So yeah, I think if you just forget about them, which I think a lot of teams are doing right now, they could be a very scary contender at the end.
Well, Max, I want to put you on the spot a little bit here.
Okay.
Because you kind of said it earlier on today when we started the show of 2 teams who qualified through and how excited you were. And you've been a very big proponent of this team, FaZe Clan. I want you to talk to us a little bit about them. I mean, we got to see Beer 11 actually play with the team. I mean, obviously ex-RRQ Athena, and he popped off. Like, he really did some serious work and had some fantastic plays, especially thinking back to, I think it was our final Erangel, if I'm not mistaken, when that nade came in and just broke the hearts of all of us.
I think the main thing that we're happy to see change for the team, and this is something that me and Tarzan brought up, is that B11 was actually playing. And B11 was doing amazing work for the entirety of the team. So I want to see him just like we saw BTR use Yuhai and keep him as the main roster to qualify for the second Super Weekend. I want to see more B11 in the Super Weekend itself because I think he can bring just so much to the team as a whole. But Tony K, MR5 have been 2 other players that we've been seeing drastically improve in terms of the eliminations they bring every single game. And it just seems like they're a lot more coherent now because don't forget, before this PMGC, this was a team that had no global stage experience such as PMGC, but now they're able to improve a little bit more time after time. Sure, it was a big miss on that first Super Weekend, but here they're going to try and play catch up.
I mean, to be fair to them, at least, Beer 11 and Corpai do have PMGC experience, but the other big players, like you're mentioning with Tony K and MR5, like they don't. And I wonder if that's maybe the strength of FaZe Clan is the fact they have 2 players they can rely on for that experience. And hopefully for Corpai, because we haven't seen him play too much as of late, he's able to help like analyze rotations and obviously try to help the team improve as a whole.
I think that's a huge point, right? Sometimes it's not just about who's just strong on paper. You need to see who's strong when they're placed together. And obviously, when Corpai was there, somehow something's not working in week 1. And I think Jason really hit the sweet spot right there. Sometimes a lot of work's done by the player who's not playing. And people sometimes overlook that so much. He could focus on doing the analysis, like you mentioned. They can focus on being someone who maneuver the energy within the team. Of course, there will be ups and downs through a tournament like this. These are where those keywords come in. And I'm going to say this again until I'm broken record, but esports is a cognitive sport. And after all, it's about how often can you enter the flow state to show your true potential.
Well, that's a good point. And I think in games like Battle Royales, it's really hard to get into that flow state and like maintain that kind of level because you're going up against so many unknowns, so many uncertainty. I mean, it's not like you're playing 5 versus 5. You're playing against one other team and you know how they play, you know what they're going to do, you know how they like to execute things. You're against 15 other teams in a lobby, right? And obviously the zone greatly impacts, the playing path greatly impacts some things, and it's about how you adapt on the fly here. But Max, what about you? Any other teams that kind of stand out to your mind that you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, if there's other teams that I'm looking at, I mean, I still expect Jason, a 4 Rivals win. It wasn't given to me on the first Super Weekend. I'm still going to be rooting for 4 Rivals to hopefully get their first win in this PMGC. It's going to happen at one point, right? Theoretically. But yeah, if there's a team that really I'm willing to talk about here, is going to be DRS Gaming. I talked about them a little bit extensively in the league play too, but this is a team that has improved drastically compared to what I set up as in terms of expectations for them. Because they were a team that, as I said in the past, especially last PMGC, very stubborn, not willing to change drops, not willing to change their rotations, and always would lose a play or 2 very early, especially in that Yasnaya Polyana kind of position. Now they're in a position where they rotate super well. Their macro has improved drastically. They take fights amazingly well. I think that there was even a play of 6 to 8 Sender, one of the players they're looking out for is actually AJ, which is very impressive to see one of the Chinese teams saying, oh, these guys from the power are really strong, be careful. So I think that DRS now has just came in as the, for me at least, the big surprise, the biggest improvement from last year to now.
Interesting. I mean, again, I was kind of hoping every region would really level up and step up over the course of this year. And we obviously got to see some like new teams come through. You know, you think of Zeus and the big standout year they had last year at PMGC, but now a new team from Mongolia with Star Esports has been able to come into the light. But then you have teams like DRS who have played previously before in PMGC and have a lot of experience, and to see them continue to improve is, I think, very important, because some other teams out there, I'm not going to name any in particular, we just haven't seen really any improvement from year to year. And we've seen roster changes happen within the teams, and even that's not fixing things for them. So, well, obviously we'll find out when the time comes if they can make it happen when the pressure is on and maybe turn themselves into diamonds. Anyway, speaking of diamonds, speaking of gems, we got 2 gems actually going to be brought into the show now to cover the first match. John Allen and Blank, why don't you guys come in, say hello, and take us into that first match.
Thank you very much. We've been called gems. Funnily enough, actually, my birthstone is diamond. So there you go. Because I was born in April. Do you know what yours is? Are you?
Topaz or something like that. I don't know, man. To be quite honest with you, I'm just rattling off gems at this point in time. But yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Hopefully, we get some rattle off some big wins today for some certain teams that are towards the bottom. I mean, FaZe, obviously, Bigatron, obviously as well, looking for those good starts to their second Super Weekend, their first Super Weekend in a way. And realistically, getting those big wins on the board, nice and early, is going to put you in good stead. But this playing path doesn't really favor a lot of teams. Now, I'm wondering if BTR are going to head up towards farm here. Would make sense for them. I know they've been dropping all over the shop at the moment, trying to figure out some better places to play around the map rather than just staying very stagnant in one area, which I have been happy with. And I think that's a great change for Bigatron.
I'm wondering if there's going to be a couple of vehicle hot drops going on here. I mean, around specifically in that farm area, right? There's going to be a lot of contestation for those vehicles on the east side, getting up even to maybe Severny to Yasnaya. There is obviously the opportunity to get out a little bit earlier and grab those vehicles, which probably is a little bit more favorable. But when you're talking about teams that like to drop and control those bridge sides, maybe the eastern rotations are going to be a little bit easier. I think we might see a couple of vehicle hot drops here.
We might do, and I think a lot of that will depend on the circle as well when it does come in. Look at the coordination from these guys on Cryptics. They just were able to make it in. If you guys are just watching the Super Weekends, you're not watching the league play, you're just here for that all-out action, waiting to see who gets into that top 9 to go towards the finals, you will have missed one hell of a last game. Where Cryptics were able to get in by a single placement point over Nova, which was, pretty stressful for these teams. Now, these vehicle hot drops that you mentioned earlier, definitely going to come into effect now, John, especially with this eastern circle that we're seeing, where we have this plane path that heads all the way down to Novo, which is a bit awkward for a lot of these guys. So we're already seeing Tong Jabao as well as Genesis Dogma. They're dropping in the same spot. You've got also MS Chumburi dropping towards BTR's position. It's very spooky, very scary, but we are most likely going to continue to see DRS and MS Chumburi heading up towards Yasnaya early on. This time, though, it's MS Chumburi getting to vehicles much earlier than DRS, so they might just be able to control Yasnaya this time.
4 Rivals and Nigma Galaxy very close to one another. Actually, Nigma Galaxy, Freak is still in the northern side of Pachinki here, but I think the majority of them were in vehicles heading north, and 4 Rivals are still in the sky, and they were just out in the open. They'd been spotted. There's not a lot you can do. They're heading out all the way to Ruins. And they lose a player early and take another knock as well. There's no way you're getting away from that. Down to earth you come, crashing down like a meteor.
Absolutely. It's not happy days here. Now, for 4 Rivals, there really has been a drop-off in performance, I would 100% say here. I mean, just looking at Week 1 Super Weekend, they dropped in 2nd place with 142 points to The Infinity, who we know is damn good, and they've continued that performance over into the weekday as well. But for 4 Rivals, coming to Week 2 of League play, after that 2nd place performance, they dropped all the way down into 12th place, and their highest scoring game was literally a 3rd place. And guess how many kills they had, John? Just guess.
Is it more than 3?
Less than 3.
That's unfortunate.
Very fortunate. They dropped into that game with a 3rd place and 2 kills. So it's really not been the best of performances for 4 Rivals coming to that 2nd league play. And I do think that realistically for this team, something needs to change. It just wasn't as powerful or as potent as that first Super Weekend that we saw them in. Maybe they're just saving those strats up for this. Again, though, I think we'll have a better idea of what's going on with that team by the end of this day. But I do think that, even just coming down in a 12th place place, that's an awkward position to be in, right, John? Especially when there is an opportunity to be dropped out and not go to the Super Weekend. You want to be more towards that 1st to 8th place margin. That's where you feel safe off a league play. And I think that if you're in 8th place and you've not got the most points in the world, that's still excusable, right? That's still excusable.
Yeah. Although there is, on the flip side of that, Infinity for the first Super Weekend qualified, I think, in 15th. So really right down towards the bottom, and then obviously knocked it out the park. So it is possible that they could see that return to form, maybe just the volatility, maybe the different groups changing in and out from game to game. Maybe that could have affected them a little bit. But I think you're right. I think it's definitely something to prove, and probably not going to be able to do it here with 2 players going down. I feel like they just spent way too long in the air above Enigma Galaxy, who were grabbing those vehicles away from them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And it's a really good point, actually, bringing up the Infinity. And I have a counterpoint, in fact, to you there, with their 15th place over on that first league play, is that they had 2 third places. And let's compare those 2 third places to the single third place from 4 Rivals, where their third place came with 10 kills on round 4 of the first day. And then on the first game of the second day, they dropped in with a 6-kill third place as well. So I do think that for the Infinity, there were those signs of merit, right, coming through from this team where we were like, well, they can actually have these big games, but we're still not sure about this team yet. And then they got more into that rhythm of it. Like Tarzan says, they got into that flow state, and they're feeling good about it now. They're having those more consistent performances that we knew they could make happen. So I am just a little bit scared for 4 Rivals in that sense, and I think that there is a lot to be learned from a team's best game and then how many kills they had on it. Was it a scrape by, or were they able to control and dominate those zones towards the end? Really interesting stuff, and I'm glad to see that we're getting more stats now as we head further into the East League. We're on our 2nd Super Weekend now. There is only 1 Super Weekend after this one, John, before we finalize those teams going towards the finals to determine our top 9. So really cool stuff. I do love me some PUBG Mobile. I'll tell you that now.
Absolutely. And also you've got to remember that normally, for the most part, in this tournament format, it is teams that play 2 Super Weekends that are right on the bubble of not making it to those finals. So we're more than likely going to be seeing the last Super Weekend for a team or 2 here, or seeing some of the teams that have only played 1. This is their first Super Weekend playing in that next one. But either way, it's likely that that bubble will be around those 2 Super Weekend teams, putting it somewhere in that 140 to 180 mark of points for the bubble. It's very difficult to know exactly where it's all going to land, given just how the tournament format works with people playing different numbers of games. But it's absolutely all up for grabs. At the moment, the Infinity and 4 Rivals, the only teams that have sort of managed to look like they can surpass that bubble. And the thing is, Blank, even if 4 Rivals don't have a stellar performance, if they get 50 points this Super Weekend, it's likely they'll qualify.
Yeah, exactly. So they're in a different position to Nova at the moment, with Nova being in 4th place, 126 points, missing out this Super Weekend. Yeah, 4 Rivals might have just scraped by into this one, but like I said, if they just get like a decent amount of points, they should be safe if they make it to the 3rd. Newsy back in the roster for the Infinity, which everyone's happy to see. Very good player on the Infinity, and shows us exactly why he is just now. But 628, they're flying up the stairs, and he should go down here.
Yeah, he does. He gets taken out and flushed, but did manage to get the point in retribution. Got Tunny looking to move over the bridge, and this is a regular fixture now at this point, Blank. 628 bridge camping the Infinity on this western bridge. This is probably, I think, the 3rd time I've seen it over the last couple of days.
It's something that needed to happen eventually. I think the Infinity, I said it so many times, they were getting so much space on that western side that was just afforded to them because no one wanted to bridge camp them. I think Reject just decided that, you know what, this is not a team that we want to contend with. We're going to find better placings within the circle and then not go for that. I mean, just looking at the map here, Reject already moved off towards farm already, towards the center of that circle. 628 have a lot more time to go about it, really, because they're coming from Primorsk, so it's almost on their rotational path to guard out the Infinity. If you get like 1 kill point every single time, that starts to add up over 15 games of a Super Weekend. So it's curious. Going back to my previous point as well, just about Nova, considering they don't get into this one. Yes, they had a 4th place finish though. So on the flip side for Bigatron, now there's a lot of pressure on them in the last 2 Super Weekends because there's no breaks now, right? There's no breaks. For Nova, there is a slight break now where they can kind of analyze the games, figure out what's going on, understand what's happening next. And that's absolutely fine for them. But for Bigatron, it's a case of we need to do great here, and then we do great again. I think for Nova, at least if they come into that next Super Weekend, they have a clear idea of, well, how many points do we really need? And I think sitting in that 4th place at the moment should be okay. They should be okay if they make it to the 3rd one.
Yeah, it's all up for grabs, really, and no team is out of it yet. Well, I say no team. I feel like BC Swell are out of it at this point, qualifying towards the finals, having qualified for neither of these 2 Super Weekends. I don't think we've ever seen one Super Weekend team qualify. I would have to go back and double check that, though, because that is a fairly bold claim.
That is a fairly bold claim. I would not be hesitant to disagree with you, though, right? I think that is a fair thing to say, and you know what? It would have to be one hell of a Super Weekend to make it in off the back of just a single one. You would be down towards 16th place regardless of what happened, but you might just be able to make it in. Looking at the teams here, you know, a lot of this eastern side of the map very, very much clear at the moment, considering Xavier aren't in the lobby. They're not dropping over towards Lipovka, so Tongji Bao taking advantage of that, heading towards the south side of Mansion. Goodness me, okay, Logan.
Just one shot. So just like throws the nade, thinks, you know, maybe get the knock, and just 2 nades to seal the deal. That is okay. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that's some good work. I mean, they got gatekeeped on the western side, so why don't we just gatekeep Stalwart on the eastern side? If 628 can have success with it, maybe so can we. So far, it's looking good. Logan, I think he's got the most throwables used in the entire lobby. Unsurprising as well, the guy is so good with them. I mean, if you're better throwing something than you are shooting something, just go for the throws, man. Just give him all the grenades you have and let him work with it. Right now, the Infinity trying to make as much happen as possible, but Top finds the cheeky shot over towards Logan. Very easy for him.
Bit of push forwards as well. Got Tanya Mello looking to scramble to regroup here. Remember, they got the off angle across the distance with Pika. More than capable of handling himself as the crash goes in over the ridge side. I guess we'll... oh, no, we're back on board. Mella get a hold off around the side of the car there. Scry forwards. Mella low gets taken down, and Scry wants to find the flush on 2 here. Got Tunny not in a position to respond to this. And Infinity lose 2 more. They're down to just the 1. It's just God Tunny himself.
Yeah, I will say that was a pretty bad fight there from Mella. I think looking downhill, I think he panicked almost, trying to fight a player behind him from Reject, and then suddenly seeing that Scry was right in front of him, whiffs the spray massively, and that is actually a fairly easy little bit of a fight for Scry in this situation. So not too bad for him. Tongji Bao once again back on screen as them, looking towards Emma's Chamburi, who've made their way back down from Yasnaya. Looking to find a place within the circle for the time being. They do have players going out wide all over the place, though. It's a bit awkward for them.
Ooh, Jesper takes a tickle. Actually gets out of the buggy and lets it roll away back behind the rock. Attack sees to it, position suppressed. But they can slow down right in the middle of this circle. Everybody's moved around these Mansion Hills, around this shelter to the north of it. This tricky ground. Team Secret. They've lost a player. That's out in the blue. This is out in the blue
That
zone.
is out in the blue. Yeah, iShots ran himself over, unfortunately for himself. Yeah, very unfortunate. These things happen. You know, you get out the car, and then the car refuses to stop driving itself because, you know, you took your foot off the gas, but things are still rolling in that sense. So, a little bit unfortunate. Somehow Scry's back on the bridge. He's the only player alive, so God Tunny looking to get a little bit of vengeance. I will say that Stalwart and the Infinity, very similar teams, to be quite honest with you. Both very, very good in terms of team fighting, decent rotations, and just strong control in those final circles. So it's almost amusing to me seeing these 2 teams battle it out here on the bridge.
See, the next shift goes down south, so this fight can last just a little bit longer, given that we're only in phase 2. I mean, they should have a little bit of medication to keep them alive. You see 1 bandage, 1 first aid, a couple of stims for Scry, but he is actually low. A lot more for God Tunny available. Scry drops down probably wisely. I think God Tunny found out about it.
Yeah, I think that, you know, for that situation, it's just a case of, well, let's cut my losses. I want to get at least like a top 8 in the situation, as unlikely as it might be. But God Tunny is... I think it's more of a case of, if you try and bridge campers, we are literally just going to both go out. So it's kind of one of those things where, you know, asserting their dominance in the circle. I don't think that's the worst thing to do, especially when you're so far up in the leaderboard. You want to make it hard for these teams that are bridge camping you and almost dissuade them from doing it again.
Oh, here goes Enigma Galaxy towards Reject. 2 of their players, but in comes the backup. You can see that on the mini-map, just rolling on into the side of those buildings. Misses the nade through the window. Hits the car instead. Lord, with oversight from Bigatron, struggling to make this entry now. Duello rebuffs him. Lord taken down with a headshot from the UMP.
Yeah, really nice little fight there coming through from Reject. Duello holding him off. Unfortunate nade doesn't go through the little slat in the window there, so Reject are able to hold on strong now. Enigma Galaxy just down to 3 players. You're right, BTR have a very nice overlook onto this position, but it's Yu Yang actually coming into the situation from STE from a distance. Okay, Ralph goes down. We'll pick up that kill nice and easily. Reject tries to stop Yu Yang from taking that point away from them.
Bigatron as well, just looking down over all of this, and they're just having the time of their lives. They're slap bang in the middle of the circle blank. They've got some decent high ground position. The question is, how long can they hold on to it? There's a lot of people looking to press in. Inward pressure greatly increased right now with all 16 teams still alive.
Oh, this is just so mean from
So
Godtunny.
mean.
And again, it is just one of those things where it's like, if you want to bridge campers, just know that it's probably not going to be worth it for you. And we have so many points already, 158, that we can afford to do this every single time until you give us free reign of these bridges. And you know, I like that. I actually really, really like that. And that's fair enough. If that's how the Infinity want to play it out, they don't want to play scared. They don't want to back down from these duels. Okay, beautiful stuff. Reject's currently got a very strong position. It's a really nice compound for the time being. Yes, people have overlook onto it, but it's very hard to shoot down into it. Team Secret take a quick knock here from MS Chumbury. DRS, you know, they've let them in on their secret that Team Secret is actually their biggest enemy, and should be MS Chumbury's biggest enemy as well, because they were saying nasty things about them.
Did they say that? Did they say that about them in the playground?
Yeah, DRS said that. I don't think Team Secret said a bad thing about anybody, but DRS, they've been spreading some bad rumors.
By the monkey bars?
Yeah, by the monkey bars, bro. By the monkey bars.
God, you can't be saying that
Just
stuff near the
evil.
monkey bars.
Yeah, come on, DRS, stop that. Mean. Really, really mean.
I'm telling you.
Everybody knows the monkey bars are a place of positivity.
Exactly.
And overcoming hardships.
Yeah.
Such as the monkey bars.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a 3-bar swinger. I'll tell you that much. I was
Oh yeah.
king of the monkey bars. Hell yeah.
God damn, 3-bar swinger.
Oh,
Bloody
yeah.
hell. Must have been flying.
Absolutely.
Were you grabbing the bars by your feet by any chance?
That'd be telling.
That'd be telling. That's true. That's true. I apologize. We can't tell no secrets next to the monkey bars. 4 rivals now. Look at. Oh, no.
Oh, he's
What
all
are
right.
you
He's all right.
doing?
He's all right. He's all right. He's okay.
They're flustered. They're flustered, man. It's not good. MS Chumbury, just to the north of them. They have that wizard tower. I think MS Chumbury would love to take it off them. There's only 2 players in it. It is fairly assailable. If 4 rivals keep throwing nades at themselves, MS Chumbury might not have to do too much of the work. 2 smokes go down. We'll stop the push slightly. That's actually a decent nade into the smokes that stops any kind of push up towards that area now that they know they might be nading it. But another one comes through from Penumbra. Will take down Jasper now. MS Chumbury just down to the 1 player.
Nades coming on through towards the Harry Potter Tower. The team goes down. Enigma Galaxy eliminated in the meantime. DRS suffering pretty heavily there in a bit of a scrap on the kill feed there. They are going to go right at it with Genesis Dogma. You can see we're jumping on board with FaZe, looking at the oversight. This is a valley of death right now for DRS. Mafia Ninja looks to try and back up Gyalzen, but Eddie's just going to go for the flushes here. Daybot rolls on in, wants the challenge, wants the fight here. 2 versus 1, and Mafia Ninja will not be able to stand the test. They'll be able to get those reses for Genesis Dogma. Cryptics as well, battling up this hillside against Rico Infinity.
Press to go just about makes it happen, but Senke's coming back to the miss, and with Press to go very, very low, it's just 1 bullet that'll take him down. Puts the actual hillside between him and Senke, so really nicely done there. Now Fidan can start to work on the rest of them. El Chapo, he's down.
Good nade.
Again, it's a good nade. Doesn't quite take down Press to go.
Not going to do the full Monty. Not this time around. Did take a little bit of damage off the down player, but the reses can come through, and Lazy Boy now wants the challenge. 2 versus 1. Renox almost immediately, and Prestigo goes down second. Now just Fidan left for Rico Infinity team as Cryptics. They got into Super Weekend by the skin of their teeth, and they are not about to let that opportunity slip away from them. Fidan wants the challenge, wants the fight. It's finally Stillwater eliminated.
Yeah, they're out. And guess who's still in? It's God done it. He's still going. Oh, we love this guy as a solo player. Lazy Boy now with nade in hand, looking for that final player. Fidan looks like it's pretty fairly on target.
Ooh.
Just goes fairly behind him. Will take down SK Ton Intent. Fidan down to very, very low HP. See God Tunny off the distance. I'm sure they're going to take too many fights, but this is a good disengage from Cryptics. They've got a lot of points here. They don't have to move too far forward. But who's this? It is God Tunny.
Oh, and he's already tagged Lazy Boy quite a lot there. Not too many stims. In fact, no stims available for God Tunny. Lazy Boy pushes up and over the rock, but God Tunny's got the bead, got the cook, over the top and gets the knock. Senke low as well. I think there's a broadside maybe coming in from Rico Infinity team as the pepper comes from the back and it's spicing things up. Senke now healing up, moves around the edge. God Tunny should have the read here, spots the gun, moves out wide behind the vehicle, wants to spray, but no! Finally cut down in his prime, and Senke left last standing for Cryptics.
That was a crazy nade coming through from God Tunny. Cooks it just right, so it slips over the top side and explodes mid-air to get the knock. Really, really well done there. I think that the issue comes in the fact that he's fighting uphill, so his spray angle is just directly onto the McLaren, doesn't get any shots that goes through, and honestly, Senke, he can just free fire downwards. So a little bit unfortunate terrain there and the way the vehicle was set up. But God Tunny, once again, just showing us he's never out until the bell actually rings itself. Down One Gaming, just about making their way into this Super Weekend as well. Did a fairly good job last league play. It's now 6-8, who's assailing their position. Fabian gets upstairs, but 33Z, he's too busy injecting the adrenaline. He'll need it for this next fight.
They are so known in this position. 6-8, bullying Downward Gaming right now in their current position. Luckily, they are in the next circle in this spot, so they have a little bit of time, and they know that other teams are going to look to push in across these hillsides. Junie, on the off angle, going to be dispatched, so Downward Gaming really isolated to this tower siege right now.
I don't know what's got into 6-8, but they are bloodthirsty today. FaZe coming to the building versus 4 rival. One goes down already. Does get a flush too.
Oh, MR5 though, swings on it. Revenge served cold in the Harry Potter Tower basement. BTR still fragging out. 6 kills so far. They came into this Super Weekend, obviously fresh. Maybe not as a daisy, but certainly fresh. 6 points found on this game alone. 33Z got knocked on the backside, so it is now just Sunan holding out Down One Gaming.
That one looking out towards 6-8 for the time being. Quite been able to hold them off. I mean, 33Z now down. It's up to Sunan now to keep this one going. Only 2 first aid kits as well, so this fight realistically needs to go his way. They are in front of Down One Gaming, so they will have to move come next circle. These nades just aren't hitting for the time being. 33Z trying to get into position. BTR, though, taking fights with Team Secret, as well as Tongji Bao. So they have lost Liquid, but Yuhai, Zuxi, and Luxi still in the mix.
They're going to be doing okay. They're on the eastern side, playing against Team Secret. They've got Reject pretty close by to them as well. Reject starting to take shots over towards Down One Gaming as well. They've got those angles. Bigatron lose a player, they get dropped there on the sidelines, but Genesis Dogma, they've got a fight of their own on the north side with the circle shifting up their way. This is really crucial, Blank, this fight. Genesis Dogma look to control a very important part of this next circle, but MR5 stand in their way, and there's as well, hang on a minute, it's an upsy downy. Oh mate, just a downy now.
Yeah, that's a very nice nade that comes over the top. I will say Genesis Dogma in the recent days, they've kind of stepped up their game, to be honest with you. You know, they've got up those stairs, they've clambered towards the top side, they're looking good, they're looking a little bit out of breath, but it's fine at the time being. So really, really well done to them. It looks like they're taking more fights than I would expect them usually to. And these are fights that are not come off the back of other teams fighting, it's rather them deciding when and where to fight, which is something that was a sorely needed change for them. Reject, on the other hand, fighting 2 fights on 2 fronts right now, over towards BTR and over towards Down One. So Reject holding a lot of this zone towards the south side, and they're looking great. I love the confidence coming through from this team.
MR5 with the underarm, wants to slow things down, drops that smoke again. FaZe and Bigatron both still alive, Blank, in this game. This is a great first game entry. To be able to survive to top 6, I think is really buoying confidence-wise for these teams to come in and have this sort of an impact. Zuxi knocked on the high ground rock that gave them a little bit of oversight into their forwards movement. MR5 finally dispatched, goes down in 6th. 5 points on the game. It's not great, but they did survive for quite a while. They should be okay with that. Keeping on going.
It's not bad either.
No.
I think there was a question posed on the desk for Team Secret too, which was, you know, is this a team that just starts out strong and then starts to taper off later? I mean, you're having the first part of the story written here, so you're at least getting chapter 1, which is where they do have a strong start, and it's up to them to continue it. Zuxi also goes down once again. I mean, this is getting a little bit awkward now for BTR. Damwon Gaming, they have a rough idea where Reject were in the first place, considering taking fights with them. But the way that they've set up at the moment is beautiful. They do take one knock in Regiosio off in the distance, but now they need to focus on one side. I don't think they can keep splitting their attention like this, and they'll need to deal with one side of the map and then slowly move their way around, especially if it's starting to getting this small in the circle.
Genesis Dogma still have that plateau to play around from the north side. Fabian so close to danger. Sarah with the nade cook in hand. Doesn't quite pull it out in time, but doesn't go down. Fabian doesn't quite land the spray. Sarah low as well. Gets knocked. Duello. Oh, he's going to be saved by the bell there. Just Booms comes in and destroys this push from Damwon Gaming. Fabian falls finally down and eliminated. It's Damwon Gaming with their first entry to Super Weekends, going down 5th place.
Oh, there you go. You got Genesis Dogma, the after party. They're here, back once again, making a ruckus, making a mess in your house and leaving before they clean any of it up. It's a bit of an awkward one. Reject, though, they're happy about it. They'll take the after party here, even if it means a little bit extra broom time for them, because it kept them in the game there. Now, down to 4 teams, 12 alive.
Genesis Dogma, Booms goes down. Reject have a little bit of a side swipe here, but they are going to have to push almost directly at Genesis Dogma in this scenario. The question is, are they going to prioritize getting in or guarding out the teams to their east?
It's a bit of a difficult one. I think for Genesis Dogma right now, it's about staying alive. Look, see those spots out. Divine will take the shots. He's going to go for the flush as well, but he's in the blue. He has to step up for this one. This is a crazy maneuver coming through from him. Yuhai goes down, and I don't think Luxie's long for this world either, and he's the final player.
Oh my god, he's got around the side. How has he stayed alive? I feel like he didn't need to go for the flush there. Bigatron get eliminated, 4th place, but they get 8 limbs. This is a really good point scoring game for them. I think that's 16 points total. Reject now suffering with losing the players on the flank. Team Secret struggling to move through, and Genesis Dogma might just be able to sit back and relax on this one. Maybe just a little bit. Well, there are still guns pointed their way. You see Duello on the flank, moving around the edge. Daybot taking damage. Team Secret trying to recuperate.
I think for Team Secret right now, all their attention needs to be towards the Wizard Tower, because Reject, they're not going to breach that hillside that Team Secret's currently playing. What they need to happen is they need Reject to cause problems for Genesis Dogma if there are any hopes in hell that they win this game. This position is so ridiculously strong for Genesis Dogma, and the way they're playing an outpost as well with Booms is going to be very hard to get rid of. So far, pretty impressed with Genesis Dogma. They just have to hold on to this one. I think for Team Secret, it's a case of, God, do you want that 2nd place or do you want the 1st? And realistically, getting 2nd place requires you taking down Reject.
Oh, well, they might have just had a little bit of help, and Reject fall immediately, and then straight away after that, everybody else gets wiped out. Genesis Dogma guard out successfully from the northern side of the circle. Fantastic first game on Erangel for Genesis Dogma.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it is a very well set up game as well. They took some fights that, you know, they didn't involve anybody else. And I think for Genesis Dogma, that's quite a small party for them. They're not too happy with the 8-man party. They're looking for more that 12-man party. But regardless, they know that if they want to get to the ball at the end of the year, they're gonna have to start going for these smaller party fights, you know, right? Where they find a team, they take them down, they find better position with the circle. I'm really liking this now, because a lot of times we look at this team and they stagnate towards the end of those circles because they refuse to move so much, because they're afraid to take fights with other teams on their own. This time, it's a whole new Genesis Dogma. They're looking a lot more proud, a lot more confident, and these fights are looking good too. They're very simple. And I think the fight with FaZe MR5, yes, it's just one player, but they methodically got rid of him out of that building with well-placed nades, well-placed smoke, because they knew that what it took to finish that game out was at least 3 players. They couldn't be down to 2 because they wouldn't have had the manpower to hold down the Wizard Tower. So really, really, really well played to Genesis Dog for this map. A lot of things went right here for them to pick up that chicken dinner.
Yeah, they absolutely stepped up to the plate, and I feel they rightly deserved that. I think they got quite a lot of kills in that game as well, if I'm not mistaken. They were picking them up sort of in dribs and drabs, but it really did start to all add up towards the end. So an excellent entry for them. Overall, Genesis Dogma should be pretty happy with that, I'd say all things considered. Yeah, you can see they're 8 kills towards this point where there were 4 teams remaining, and they're just picking up many more. 12 towards the end. Okay, hang on a minute.
So that'd be 16.
They take down.
16 win game.
Okay, there's
right.
15. I thought I saw flash up towards the end, right in those highlight reels. So it would be around that. I think one of them might have been able to snag a kill. But Genesis Dogma, a return to form. Hopefully, we'll see what more they can do over at the desk.
Yeah, would love to see more what they can do in the future, but I do want to point out, like, the fact that we've had Bigatron, FaZe Clan, Damwon in their very first match here in the Super Weekend to be able to put themselves in top 6, where Nigma Galaxy went out early. That's a massive game for them, because that means they're clawing out on that lead that that Nigma have over them. But Genesis Dogma, 30 points, gentlemen, like, that is a great match.
The fact also that they get himself 15 elimination on this game, because they were taking all the time, Tarzan, right? Multiple fights at the same time. They were fighting FaZe and MSC at the exact same time at one point, trying to also push himself into the circle. Like, they were fighting for these circles every single time. And the fact that they were able to make those 2 fights happen at the same time, despite being so split, is highly impressive. And I fully agree with the sentiment of Blank there, which is they were a team that was maybe a little bit more hesitant, not willing to take the fights. This is a new Genesis Dogma we witnessed on this first game. If they can play like this consistently, they're already in a good position in terms of the overall rankings before this game. They were in 7th, was 123 points, man. They can make it to the grand finals. I love this Genesis Dogma. I want to see more of this Genesis Dogma here.
To be fair, they started the pacing very well from phase 1, right? They say this position is strong and we're close to it, we're going to claim it as soon as possible, and they slowly just maneuver from that spot, from the middle of shelter, and towards winning the game. And that's not easy, because sometimes when you thought about being controlling around a segment, you may use up a lot of your resources, so that is some other skill that you need to factor in as well.
Oh, you can see our MVP actually going to be Zuxian. Ooh. Oh, I haven't said those words in like a long time, to be honest. And again, I mean, not to be like critical or to be negative towards them, but we just haven't seen Bigatron really this entire event. But in this first match, at least they step up and they show, hey, in Super Weekend, we can start to pick up some points here. But it's about not just one match. It's about being consistent here, about getting as many points as possible to catch up, maybe in particularly to the teams who didn't qualify in this Super Weekend.
Yeah, but before I touch on BTR, before I forget about it, Nigma Galaxy again 2 points. All getting a little bit spooky for them. We've got to be careful. We've got to see some more results from Nigma Galaxy. But yeah, BTR, this is the BTR that I want to see a lot more, because we saw it. Their macro was a little bit icky, a little bit all over the place in those league play sessions. But here they were proactive from the get-go, Jason. You had yourself some scouting done really proactively from, I believe it was Liquid. They regrouped. They went 4-2-2 split on top of Lumber, and then they regrouped when they saw the circle centering on their position. This is the best macro I've seen from BTR this entire tournament yet.
Agreed.
There's still some potential improvements yet, especially in terms of speed. I think you mentioned Tarzan earlier, but if they play at this level consistently over time, I think they can easily catch up to the top 16.
Did you say icky, Max?
Icky, yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm just confirming. I wasn't judging, not at all. For you guys at home, remember there is a lot of things you can be winning. We have our fan favorite vote here. Make sure to go into the Esports Center and vote for your favorite players and your favorite teams, so you can unlock some various pink level items permanently for you and your account, as well as the treasure box. If you guys are watching the game currently within YouTube or within the Esports Center, you guys will get some currency that will lead up to you being able to purchase yourself one of these, again, permanent items. All about giving away these permanent items. But even beyond that, we're also excited to announce that the PMGC community tournament with Game TV is open for everyone. All you need to do is go register to play and get PMGC tokens and also a Google Play card. So a lot to be won up for there. A lot of things being given out to you guys, not to mention our amazing games. But we also now have Miramar to come up next here. And the question comes down to, will Bigatron, will FaZe Clan, will these teams, Damwon, continue to perform like this? And there's only one way to really find out, to stick with us as we head to a short break here. We will come back with that second match.
Danny, ready for abstract.
saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to PMGC 2021. We are in our second super weekend, and we're getting into, have a little mini stroke there, our second match here of our first day in just a few seconds. Miramar to come up next, if you guys didn't know what the order is going to be. And of course, Sanhok will be our fourth match when we do get to it, but our only Miramar for the day and our only Sanhok for the day. And you know, you two, Professor Tarzan and Maxman, who are putting up with my terrible hosting today, what are your expectations as we go into this?
Nah, you're doing fine, Jason. Don't worry about it. You're doing great as always. But I mean, Miramar, we know this map is typically the map where Reject tend to perform really well, right, Tarzan? They already had a really strong start of the day on Erangel, which was a map we were asking them to improve upon, which I think by now we can say they are good Erangel team, so good job to Reject. But I'm wondering, especially as the BTL, where that conversation, right, Tarzan, are they going to continuously try and drop into Puerto Paraiso, or are they going to maybe go back to Picardo, where they used to drop in the past, which I would like, because that makes it super easy to find an entry point if you drop Picardo.
Yeah, I know you want to see some blood, Max, but I really doubt it, because the volatility of today's match is actually quite crazy, because a lot of the teams have not played this map since last Wednesday, so they are coming back in. It will be very, very chaotic, I think, when it comes to drops.
Well, we did get to see our MVP of Zuxi. Now we get to see him compared up against Daybot, which we've seen a couple of times now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 717 damage, 5 eliminations, 31% of his team contribution. I was actually hoping to see maybe Nico in there, because that Overwatch position we got to see him playing from Tower was very, very impactful. The amount of information he was getting was insane, but obviously information isn't reflected when it comes to stats.
Yeah, Nico was literally in the Harry Potter Tower just giving information like, you go over there, you go over there, you get the kills, and I'll just relax from a distance while you guys are getting all those elims for yourself. It's great to see, but we're going to see the also average elimination points throughout the super weekend of Star Wars is going to be 7.4. Okay. If they can just hold on remotely close to that average of eliminations, that will be insane. But even Reject, I think Tarzan, a lot of people expect it to be more of a passive team. 6.1 average elimination is also highly impressive from them. Like, great job.
It's quite huge, but the thing is, I feel like a lot of that's done in the early first half of the last Super Weekend. Whether they can continue with this strength, we don't know. We have not played this map for quite a while now, so teams might have had the chance to prepare already and really target them down. I mean, we already heard in that video that we mentioned, Max, like some teams are going to try to stop them entering the final. So whether they can still hold it down, this will be quite key on this map. They are known to do well.
I mean, to stop them from entering the finals, I mean, Reject, actually, I'm trying to think, where are they on the Super Weekends? They are 8th place at 122 before we had that last match. That's really hard to keep them out of the finals, to be honest. If you really going to focus it down, you have to do that quite consistently. And then if it backfires on you, they're going to get further ahead than you. And if you're 6-8, well, you're in 12th place, so you're not really even safe yourself yet. If you lose these fights, you could be the one not going to the finals, and that would be a little bit bittersweet for them. But on Miramar, I think there's a lot of things we still can talk about. Enigma Galaxy, we still have some really good performances when it came to that map in particular in our very first week of league play. I'm still a little bit worried for them, and I don't want to harsh them too much, but just because they are the bottom team at the moment in 16th place, with their, I guess the bubble team is the correct way to say it, getting 2 points in the last match. Yeah. They have so much pressure on them because every team is gunning for them, and 3 of those teams that are below them have already been able to catch up quite a bit.
I mean, sorry, go for it, Tom.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's the thing.
What was that?
We're talking about, I'm sorry, because it's so, like, pressing as a point, because we talk about psychology and all these things, having the right narration. These teams who know that it was their first game, they knew that they have chased so many points already, Enigma would be shaking, right? They already knew that, oh, we didn't have a lot of points to work with here.
Yeah.
And all these teams just got like a third of those points or even more in one game. Like, that is terrifying. And I think for the teams who got those points know that themselves. And they can really use and say, hey, we should be Gucci. Like, we can go from here with no problems.
Yeah, not only that, Nemo Galaxy have got to try and be safe on, for example, your Damwons, your FaZe clans, your BTRs, but also got to keep in mind that there was also a pretty big point gap between 16th and 15th, so they got to try and play catch up to the likes of Cryptips, Dongjiao Bao, Star Wars Esports, which we know if they do similar results to what they did in that second league play, they're going to be aiming for that one of those top positions. So Nemo Galaxy are just in that middle position, which is so tricky, so stressful to be in, and I can't even stress out how important it is for them to also make in that third Super Weekend, because Nemo Galaxy, I would say, are in the worst position because BTR, Damwon, FaZe, they know exactly around how many points they're trying to aim for, so they're going to adapt their playstyle because of that, whereas Nemo Galaxy are just in the middle of all that currently happening, so it's very hard for them. But we've seen them have some good games from time to time. I think they can pull through, but we need to see a way better performance from their first Super Weekend.
Yeah, and in Tarzan, I'm not sure, like, if either of you actually, or you as well, Max, like, have been able to really hammer down what Nigma is potentially doing wrong necessarily, because we, again, it's so odd for us to see a team do so well. Again, I think they were like 3rd place overall in our first week of league play with 0 chicken dinners, and every other team around them except 4 rivals had one. And yet now going to Super Weekend, you would imagine, okay, just kind of retain that kind of performance, get a decent amount of points considering what you got in league play, but they've just completely fallen off the wagon, and I'm not sure why or how or what is happening.
It depends if you're talking about on which map in particular. For example, if you get on Sanhok, and I talked about this with Kalaris already, which is they go for the heal-off strat way too early, and that hurts them to potentially get a lot more elimination, a lot more placement points later on down the line. But for example, looking back on that last game, they went for 2-2 split, they tried to crash into the compound of reject. There was just no proper organization on their side, and I think that I don't know if it's down to the IGLing, I don't know how the communications work internally for the team, but I think that having a proper strategy that you're just going to follow down to a T is what Nima Galaxy currently need. I haven't seen that really work out for them so far, but if they can improve on that at least point in particular, I think they could improve their overall point averages every game.
I think it's about repertoire. They need to expand their repertoire. They're very linear. It's very easy to predict what they're going to do, especially on Sanhok. But for these other maps as well, it's pretty slow early game, and then they just fail to transition well. It's not just about early game to mid game. It's also from league play into Super Weekend. Like right now, they were doing these things that they might have really can't find a difference between maybe decisiveness and really blunt play. They need to be a little bit more prepared.
Okay, we'll find out if they are prepared, just like our commentators. We're heading into the match here with John Allen and Blank once again.
We are always prepared, Jason. We are just always ready and raring to go. Just like this Miramar game, we're going to be going fairly central La Cooperaria down to Puerto Paraíso. Over here in Miramar, a fairly central plane path, and actually probably one of the fairest you'll see on this map.
Yeah, this is like the best plane path, almost like best actor Brad Pitt. So honestly, I am ready for this game to get started. I'm ready to go. San Martin right in the center here. So yeah, a lot of teams be able to get to their positions around this map very easily here, John. Do love the car flying down into the map as well. It's one of my favorite new animations, to be honest with you. We did get word towards the beginning of this tournament that we would be seeing lots of teams pulling out this one, especially because I really want this one in game as well, because it just looks so damn cool, into the Reaper parachute there as well, which is very cool. I don't think it is the Reaper parachute, but I like to think so.
It does look very cool, like best actor David Tennant going to be coming on through into this one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. It's a Scottish man and doesn't play. Sometimes there's an Englishman. Okay, it's got a lot of variability, just like this circle will have a lot of variability here, with many teams to be able to go wherever they like. There's lots of strong positions around here. El Azahar, damn! Sung sends this guy to sleep with a nice little lullaby there, and that'll be a game over for him. Night-night.
Unfortunate. Fabian had the oversight. Nigma Galaxy very close by. Forest took a knock in the meantime as well. El Pozzo, a little bit of a hotbed here.
Yeah, very much a hotbed. See what can actually happen. Rico Infinity team, they'll happily snatch up those points as well onto Forest. Nigma Galaxy, Tarzan, the boys on the desk, all saying that these guys are quivering right now, scared that the boys in the closet, looking at BTR, FaZe Clan, Team Secret, all getting a huge amount of points, ready to catch up to them. Already you see down towards the bottom of the rankings, BTR, Damwon Gaming, FaZe 9, 10, 16, just come into this when Nigma Galaxy sat on a sad 49 with 16 games played. Ooh, John. Terrifying stuff.
Oh, it's very scary, isn't it? Oh, goodness me. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, It's really going to take a little bit of time, the rest of this Super Weekend, really, to decide who is going to be looking safer or not. I think 200. I think I've come to the conclusion that 200 points or more, you're good. Like, you're going to be okay.
Okay.
That's my magic number. That if you're 200 or more, you're definitely good. Anything under that, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I find that crazy that the Infinity then, by your calculations, have already hit that 75% mark towards hitting that magic number already. Very crazy stuff. That is not an accurate percentage, I know, because they're 158. 150 would be 75%.
I was going to tell you one.
Smart little cookie. Yeah, I know, but I suspected that. Just like Yuhai suspects Lonz is getting to the vehicle, tries to hit these shots. Ooh, just a little bit more difficult with the iron sights on there. And Lonz gets away nice and safely. I had a dream about Lonz, actually.
Sure you want to talk about this now?
Yeah, I do, actually. I had a dream that Tongji about won Miramar.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy? On my day off, I was dreaming about PUBG Mobile. Except he wasn't called Lonz, he was called Lanz, and the caster kept calling him Lanz, and I was like, no, he's called Lonz, guys, please!
Who was casting him? Was it you? Were you calling him Lanz, and it was you telling you to call him Lonz?
I don't know. It could have been Best Actor Brad Pitt casting for all I know. I'm just not sure.
With Best Actor David Tennant.
Yeah, true, okay.
As a duo. That'd be I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that duo. Yeah, that would be the cool duo. BTR, very much central at the moment, down towards Mina Generales. I really do like this from BTR. I think that BTR could have fallen face flat, honestly, during this tournament after that first league play in Super Weekend. But to be quite honest with you, I will reminisce on all the taunts we cast out, and I hope that you'll do the same, John, because I'm pretty sure you remember, is that every time we say this about BTR, it's like, they're not as good as they were. And then suddenly they're like, no, guys, we're still pretty good. Just takes us a lot of time to warm up in these tournaments for some strange reason. It's very odd. So I have faith that BTR will make it into the finals. I do actually have faith here because there's been so many times where I've been served a hot platter of having to eat my own words when I talk about BTR. So many times, so many times. I'm getting full on those type of words.
They are the comeback kids. I mean, they are a Super Weekend team. Like, they don't always perform in league plays, but they come into these and just sort of turn it around just a little bit. Obviously, coming in with 16 points on the first game, a great result. And we've seen them clutch out Miramars before with only less than the number of players one would think would be ideal.
I know, right?
Either way, definitely a team still to be reckoned with. There is no dead horses in this tournament.
Absolutely not. Everyone is still going. They might be limping, but they're still going. I don't expect anyone to stop anytime soon. I think with BTR, though, just that last game as well, if we do a quick little bit of analyses, it was interesting that Luxy did go out into the blue to get that flush, and it could be seen as a mistake. It also could be seen in another way, is that BTR realized, you know what, we're most likely not going to win this game, and we already have a lot of kills, so let's just get one more kill on the board. That's a sweet 16, and we can then go from there and try and pump up our points in our next 14 games, because they have quite a lot of games to run with. So if they're just prioritizing getting a consistent amount of points every single game, you know, that is okay for me. Even if it's the case that they're like, we are not going to get a chicken dinner every single time. We might not even get a top third, but if we can get a fourth place, a fifth place, to a fairly higher chunk of kills, like, that is fine. That is fine for us. We just need to get points on the board right now. That is the most important thing.
All rivals, they took an unfortunate set of knocks at the start of the last game. They're looking to try and turn that one around. A lot of teams really getting up towards the top there. Bunching up. I mean, the Infinity looked uncatchable last week, but here we are with 3 teams knocking on the door. Well, pretty much 4 or 5 teams, actually, knocking on the door at the start of this Super Weekend. Which is good. It adds to the whole flavor of the thing.
Adds to a lot of excitement. Unfortunately, I think that we already have... I think we do actually have a dead horse. I think about it. There is one dead horse in BC Swell. Yeah, I don't think that BC Swell can make it into the finals now. I think it's over. I think they're, after not getting... That is the difficulty with this new format, which is 3 Super Weekends instead of 4. So we've really reduced the amount of time that these players are all playing. You know, I'd prefer this format because it allows for less deviation from the norm and less chances. And although more chances is great, yeah, that's
Was that the
unfortunate.
replay
Buggy just
from
drops on
Erangel?
your head. Oh, that's from last game. Yeah, unfortunate stuff for iShots there. Still gets back on his feet. Although it provides less chance, I think that's a good thing. Like I said, because you want to get the best teams in, and if they're playing at their best, they should be able to make it in with just 3 super weekends. But if you miss out on 2, whew, it's curtains. It really is curtains.
I agree. I think that, you know, whilst it is unfortunate that they haven't been able to make it so far, if they have played to the standard that these other teams have played, you know, if they had played better, quite frankly, they would be.
If you had done better, you would have been better, and you would have been here.
It
All right?
seems so.
That's how
It seems you know, self-evident, right? But sometimes it just needs to be. It does need to be said, right? You just need to play better sometimes, which is unfortunate because they're obviously a very, very talented team. To be able to make it here, I mean, even to qualify for PMGC East League is a nutty accolade to have.
Yeah, it is a huge accolade, and it's something that you can like put on your banner, put on your tweeters, put on your Instagrams, you know, wherever you want it to be. On Facebook, you can just have it as like your profile photo. I don't care, do what you want. But to be honest with
Send it to you now.
Yeah, send it to you now. Send it to you now in a little postcard. That's the way to be. FaZe taking shots over towards BTR, off in the distance towards La Bandita, just skirting around the circle side there, like a couple of toboggans. So we will see how far these guys do get, but they're very much towards the middle of the map right now, so a lot of options available to them. That next circle, going to change things slightly with Picardo more in the mix now, with the Infinity as well as Rico Infinity team coming through on that area. No Deadeye guys just yet to look at really for us, so they won't be heading over towards Picardo. We'll have to deal with them, will the Infinity or Rico Infinity team this super weekend. That's very staccato, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll bring it a little bit back to the legato and draw things out.
Yes, thank you.
Smoother on the musical terminology.
Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, I'll be alright.
I do appreciate that.
Four Rivals making it smoother
when
as
words
well.
fail, music speaks.
Ooh, I like that. Is that a tattoo?
Yeah. Is that a tattoo on me? No.
Have you had that?
I
Have you had that
I
tattoo?
like how
Have you?
I like how you think that all my good quotes I've just got tattooed on my arm, just so I get like almost like a test. I can just look at my palm and like, oh yeah, this is a good one. This is appropriate for this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, you can look in a mirror and be full of wisdom. You do that anyway.
Very narcissistic. Yeah, I'll do that anyway, so it's fine. 6-8 off in the distance, taking shots from Tongjiabao, my dream team, quite literally, this map. So we will see how these guys can do. But 6-8, you know, they've been playing a lot more aggressive, I'd say. Very, very aggressive, you know, almost to their detriment last game. But they're just taking fights, and if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. Currently sat in 9th place, 104. Now, 6-8 is probably one of the only teams here that I wouldn't say it's one of the only teams, but they're a team that's like not hugely high up in the rankings that I'm not terrified for whatsoever. I think every single league play, they put up a very decent performance, enough of a performance to get into the Super Weekend at least, and I can make a prediction right now that they will make it in the 3rd Super Weekend. I have no doubts in my mind of that. So I think for 6-8, they're just really pushing the boundaries, and sometimes like limit testing, very important in these type of lobbies, especially where, you know, you can come into this with a mindset of, God, we don't want to really take too many fights because these guys are at the top of their game. You know, we might be good at it, but we don't want to take too many fights because that will most likely lead to disaster. 6-8, on the other hand, they're like, let's fight this team, let's fight that team, let's see how good they are, let's see how we fare against these guys. So that's great. I actually really appreciate it. It's a cool playstyle, and if they have the chops to do it, why not?
Yeah, I mean, if they've got the points to back it up as well, because you're looking at, to be good, if you're getting into every Super Weekend, about 70 points per Super Weekend, and you should be all right. So even if you're not always winning those fights, you're losing, you know, some of those chances, you are testing that limit, right? And you're knowing where the top end of your variance plays can be. By which I mean, you know how far you can push it to take risks in order to get an expected reward that in general benefits you over the longer form of these Super Weekends. You've got 45 games if you're qualifying for all 3. So you can take risks, and on average, they'll work out if they're the right decision.
Exactly. We've got our new Arcane loot package, which blends in perfectly with Miramar, so that could be quite interesting when we get towards those final circles. and you could be almost gilly box. So it'd be gilly boxing it towards the end. So interesting stuff. Like to see it. Cryptics, on the other hand, yes, they made it in just about here, and they're looking to put up some points as well. Once again, next circle will hit towards Graveyard, slamming back towards this area of the map, which is a bit awkward to play. Minas Generalis around here too, but FaZe are holding that hillside towards the southwest side of the map. The Infinity also coming through. You know, they just looted up that loot crate you can see on your screen on that southwest side, but they will eventually have to contend with Recon for the team, as well as Cryptics and Nigma coming from that southwest side. But if anyone can do it, it's the Infinity. They've got it in the bag.
They are a very strong team. Definitely so. Sat at the top of our tables. Genesis Dogma, apparently equally strong. I mean, we had our criticisms about this team coming from last Super Weekend, coming from League play as well, but they seem to have assuaged that a little bit in that last game. They played more proactively, and they've reaped the rewards. 153 points now to 158 for the Infinity. The closest the top of the tables has been in a long, long time. Damwon try and sail through, and they'll be able to make the passing as well.
Yeah, Bamboo, a little bit lazy with that spray, I'd say. Not able to quite hit it. Again, they were going very, very quickly, though, so slightly harder to go for. And they rushed directly into BTR, John.
And immediately Fabian falls, Juni out in the open as well, taking heavy damage. Liquid looking to guide it out, spots the crossing through from Sung and tracks it back as well, gets the spray down, and immediately Damwon dispatched. Zuxi does get knocked, but they'll be able to get that res, no trouble. First to go down yet again, Damwon. Falling. I say yet again, they didn't go down first last time, but they still go down first this time. 10 points total so far, only 1 point this game.
Ooh, but a little bit of another engagement here of DRS and Stalwart. This is an interesting fight, considering, you know, Stalwart is great in terms of these gunfights. Just T-posing on him, that's fair play. Scry now seems to trying to make something happen in this situation. Nima coming around the side, won't quite find him as of yet. In the meantime, 4 rivals taking a fight with BTR just after their fight with Damwon Gaming.
Oh, it's so close. Scry avoiding the nade, but pumping him back as good as he gets. A 180 to suppress Gyalzen on the corner. Sprays down as well. AJ on the inside as well as Gyalzen there. Pika, resable in this scenario. And I think DRS are going to give them the time break to go for it. Gyalzen, though, wants to keep this push going. And nade cooked in by Scry and finds Gyalzen, but not getting the knock. Over the top, Gyalzen has one of his own. And this one is to perfection. 3 minutes either side, and it's a juicy steak for DRS.
Really, really well done there. Basted in butter, made it look sweet. It was a good one coming through from DRS. I mean, they were instantly onto that building, instantly taken off the hands of Stalwart. And that's a real big vote of confidence from me being able to take a fight with Stalwart, considering they do have Action, who is 15 limbs above everybody else in the lobby. He is absolutely pumping. But DRS able to take them out of the way. So really, really well done. Luxie has been removed from the BTR roster, so they're down to 3. Enigma Galaxy playing it very slowly. Well, this next circle, this is absolutely fine for them. Heads over towards that western side. That's going to be a massive migration from that southeast.
To me, this is where Genesis Dogma need to prove that they have upped their game, and it wasn't just a one-off in that last game. They are right on the outside, and they are right behind every other team on this south edge. It's going to be tricky, and they need to make it happen. The question is, can they do it? Can they stand up to the bar which they set themselves in Erangel?
Yeah, this is the most awkward push for Genesis Dogma on this map, especially all the way up towards Graveyard side. And we know that Graveyard is very barren anyway, so it's difficult to get in. So a lot of the playable spots will be taken up early. There's going to be a lot of fights early. Tongji about, they've just about made their way in. Team Secret's also coming towards their position, but they do have a forward scout up towards the top side in Sir. So he should just be able to spot out these players before they come in. But it's the Infinity versus Reject.
Ooh, Mela low, but doesn't go down. Holding out for now. Mela does go down in the end, actually, finding that knock. Coming on in on the hillside. MS Strawberry 628, pretty close to one another, and FaZe Clan as well. Just a little bit over this hill. This southern push is deadly. Mela down, Reiji on the off angle there, but Divine is the only player for Reject in this position, and an aid over the top, looking to keep this one going. Reiji falls, and now it is just Divine, looking to push over the top, up and over, maybe get a flush, maybe get 2, but Duello wants to get this res. Sarah is going to get flushed on out, and it's only 2 for Reject. The res is coming through from both teams, Black.
I think the res is fine here for the Infinity. The two players do need to push up and put pressure on towards Reject Divine. Mela back up again, so a 4v2 effectively. I don't think Divine's even going to get this res off, and the Infinity will dispatch Reject. So really important fight as well, considering Phaser just along the way. But Genesis Dogma, look at this. They're coming into the mix. Cryptic's here as well. They've got this lineup, and already Cryptic's take a knock. In Senke, just Marshall alive, but Snickle very low. Nade in hand.
Looking to burn it away as well. There's a Molotov. It's going to push Marshall towards this
right,
vehicle. Genesis Dogma take a nade and Snicker will go down, but Marshall falls almost as fast. And this is the proactivity that we wanted to see, Blank. They move, they take an engagement on a hillside they know there's fighting on already, and they give themselves some ground. They carve it out on their own will.
This was a fantastic little swing down towards the south side. Understanding this is probably the safest way in, is just guarding out on that blue edge and then going from there. So really, really well done to Genesis Dogma. Get themselves into position. Newsy takes a knock from along the way from Rico Infinity team, who will be holding out the majority of this south side. Very hard to push onto their location. You know, this is where they start at the beginning of the game, as did the Infinity, but the Infinity was looking for a proactive push down towards that eastern side. So I think Rico Infinity team, I would say, have been a little bit stagnant during this game, but it's worked out for them, considering the circle did make such a hard shift over towards the west side.
Uh-oh, Playzone claims one of Genesis Dogma as they make their push in towards the circles. 4 rivals just next to them, their neighbors in arms here. They're going to try and guard out the Infinity, and Cryptics who try and sail through. El Chapo in the buggy on the dunes will not be able to go any further. Sandworm snaps the jaws shut, and Spice no longer will be there.
Mela, Melange, same thing really. No blue eyes for this team though for the time being, but they are piercing through this map at the moment versus Reject as well. I'm just curious to see how far they can go, because this downhill slope towards the circle is very treacherous, and quite honestly, sometimes it is just a case of bolting down in vehicles and trying to get into position. Genesis Dogma just about moved up around 4 rivals, sending in the Hail Mary.
Booms is healing out in the blue, wants to get the spray down as well. No first aids left, but takes one of 4 rivals. Will lay down his life for the rest of his team to give them that chance to move forwards, and take it they will. Genesis Dogma get into the circle with 2 players alive. 4 rivals now need to move against Infinity's tide, moving in from the south.
Yeah, that's a seriously interesting play from Booms, and one that I hugely respect. I don't think a lot of times we see self-sacrifice during these games to assist the rest of the team to get further into the circle. A lot of times it's like grouping up, let's stay together as much as possible. And this is the type of thing that happens, is you just get blown to pieces. In this sense though, Genesis Dogma, they've managed to distract 4 rivals enough that they've got into a fairly awkward position for other teams to actually attack. It's DRS just outside MS Trumbury's position. These 2 teams, they do hate each other.
They really don't like being anywhere near each other, but for some reason they find themselves in that situation far too often. It's a will they, won't they. It's a Ross and Rachel going on here. That's an old reference that about 2% of the audience will understand, I'm sure.
It's very, very archaic, you know? It's almost like a dinosaur fossil is how old that one is. MS Chumbury, though, for a few more shots over towards DRS. You know, DRS, I think more than likely right now, this is keep us alive play, right? You know, they're not looking to fight MS Chumbury, just looking to keep them at bay. With this side of the wall of the church as well, there's no windows, so they're fairly safe overall. And they're just waiting for other teams to come into the action.
Southside, look at that. Rico Infinity team taking heavy punishment. Logan's going big. Okay. He's popping the claws. He's roaring across the battlefield. Logan sticking up strong right now. 4 rivals. They've lost 1 player. Logan down the hill to deal with and got Tunny sending forwards even further. Rico Infinity team not able to look for these openings in the way that they would want.
Action's like, hand me the phone, I'll do the 180 for you, then you can play again. Don't worry about it. We'll be back in the mix. 4 rivals, Penumbra back here trying to make their way in. Genesis Dogma, once again, they have that shack. Really nice play. They don't really have a lot of sightlines coming out of here. They will get assailed by grenades. Luckily, a lot of teams are currently, you know, up in arms. Fists are locked in action. So Genesis Dogma should be safe for the time being. Not too many teams looking towards their way. Next circle heads up towards FaZe Clan. Okay, yes, please. This is the kind of game that I'm liking to watch.
This is great news for FaZe as well as Genesis Dogma and Bigatron, to be fair, to be able to make it again fairly deep into these games. I mean, sure, there's 11 teams remaining, but they all look in fairly good positions for the time being. Team Secret fighting out with Tongjiabao over on the northeastern side, and I think that is going to be Tongjiabao taking the knee. I mean, it's like, you know, the Centaur's prediction in Harry Potter. They knew what was going to happen. They didn't know when it was going to happen. So maybe we'll see another Miramar be taken by Tongjiabao. On your dream prediction.
On my dream prediction, we'll see. You know, I think there's one more today, one more tomorrow, so we'll find out then, right? But for the time being, we're watching Nigma Galaxy. Now, this team 0 kills right now. They've really not done a lot, and I think that for the time being, this has just been a case of survival for Nigma Galaxy. How far in this game can we get? But even so, going down in 10th is not going to afford you a lot of points, especially with the fact they've got 0 kills. They're trapped on the western side of the circle. I don't see this team going much further.
Oh, this is the Genesis Dogma test right now. Daybot gets the heal off, has to move out, but he's in the fire. He's burning away, and they will fall down. 4 rivals move up to the shack, but they've got to go a little bit further. Right in the middle, FaZe fending off 2 players in the crater. Nades will find their way towards them. Chonburi look to push down, so do Bigatron look to push in. The Team Secret got in ahead. Infinity on the south end as well, taking on Nigma Galaxy.
Yeah, this is an important fight for Nigma Galaxy. These are the type of guys that know they want to get some points on board, but again, still 0 kills, I believe, for Nigma Galaxy at the point of this game. They just haven't done anything whatsoever other than just slowly, slyly, like a fox, maneuver their way into the end circles here. 7th place, so not bad. With the Infinity going down, they're still in the top 6. The Infinity with 5 kills total. FaZe right in the center now, though. They're going to be assailed by a lot of different teams at the moment, all looking towards that position. So many teams all being able to hold in this area, though, because of the ditches that are available to you, the rocky outcrops that you can hide in. It is a very interesting type of terrain that we're playing at the moment. Oh God, this is so sad. Nigma Galaxy gets a knock, looks for the kill, and someone steals it away for them. It is just looking for scraps right now, looking for anything.
This is the thing about FaZe's position. If any one team pushed straight at them in a team versus team battle, they would most likely lose. But the fact that there are so many teams on this precipice means that none of them can make that move. And FaZe can just hold that line and force all of the other teams to put that pressure onto each other rather than bearing the brunt of it themselves.
Wow, circle heads all the way up to the eastern side now. FaZe actually have an opportunity to get into it, but Team Secret, again, in our top 5. This is the second time they've hit a top 5 finish of this Super Weekend. Really good stuff from them. 2 players still alive at the moment, and no team with a full 4. Hamodi comes over the top side, gets a nice little spray, and that's the first kill of the match coming through for Nigma Galaxy. Really, really well done to them,
Love to see it.
Unironically. Looking at this, though, we'll see how far Nigma Galaxy can go, because I think that they will need to make this a shoot rotation down towards the south side, which they've already done, which is smart. That is not ironic, I'll tell you that now.
There we go. Jasper forwards position. Jumper goes down, and out wide goes the last player for Team Secret, and down fast he goes to Ponzite. Will get rest here, and they can push a little bit further in. FaZe still trucking. They're still trucking on that side. Oh, hang on a minute.
2 players. Oh, goodness me. Okay.
They're doing more than that as well, but they will go down. Nades back and forth, and it's FaZe to fall. But 2 players from MS Chonburi will be down on bended knee. And now 4 rivals. Nigma Galaxy fighting out for the center of this circle. Hamodi, Ralph looking to try and put the pressure on as they now have the advantage.
I mean, they might win this game. I will say that it will not be in a very impressive win, but they might win this game, which I think Nigma Galaxy they'd be happy with regardless.
I'm surprised that MS Chonburi got all 3 of them back up there. I guess 4 rivals were preoccupied. The sail across that ridgeline from Ralph, I think this is really bold.
Bold, one way to put it, yeah. Sure.
I don't like that play one bit, I'll be honest. And in come MS Chonburi, pushing across that ridge side with just the 1 kill from Nigma Galaxy. 9 stand in the pocket for MS Chonburi. 4 rivals taking heavy punishment. 1 player standing for each of the pretenders to this one. Another nade over the top. Almost seals the deal, all but Hamodi isolated. Ridgeline spotted out, Hamodi falls. Just the players from 4 rivals.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an incredible comeback if 4 rivals can get back into this one, but Penumbra going down, the final play being so low. That's MS Chonburi taking the win. The Sharks, they have swum the non-existent waters of Miramar and managed to pick up a chicken dinner in the process. Really well done to MS Chamburi. They fought some very difficult fights to get here, and I feel like this is kind of a dark horse team. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how good MS Chamburi actually are, and then they really come to form in these final moments of the game. So very, very well done. We've seen similar things happen on a Sanhok, where once they get to those like closed off circles, I feel like these teams are TDM kings, right? They're very, very good in those final moments of the game. Nigma Galaxy, I'm not impressed, to be quite honest with you. I know they got a third place, but it comes off the back of that circle hard shifting over towards their side. They play very much out on the edge of Picardo. I don't really think they did too much to get here, personally. Regardless, I will say the one thing they did do well was a very nice little south rotation. But then that vehicle push into the middle of the map, I don't know, honestly.
I think that was, a categorically bad play. I feel like stopping that. I mean, I think I could have excused it if he kept going for the other bit of the ridgeline. But going down into
stopped.
They knew where full rivals were. They know that there's a ridge that they have just straight up sight lines. He stopped, got out the wrong side, and just died. So I don't know. Maybe we probably shouldn't talk about it too much going forwards. But I mean, it wasn't great.
Yeah. It wasn't the best. I think for BTR, Team Secret and FaZe once again getting into our top 5 is fantastic news, honestly. Really, really good stuff. And I don't want to see this performance from Team Secret fizzle out. It shouldn't. They're looking good. I want the bonfire to get going for Team Secret. Honestly, I check out their Instagram all the time. You know, they've got some sick memes, and now they've got some sick plays in the match too.
Absolutely, and as well, during that game, we saw a confirmation that Genesis Dogma seemed to have changed something in that game. So we're really excited to see what they're going to be able to put down for the rest of the day, for the rest of the Super Weekend. And we're going to head back over to the desk to take a little bit of a break from the action, but we'll be back with more very soon.
Well, I do have to apologize. John On is lying. There is no break in the action because we are the action. We are the analysis desk. Jason Kaplan, Maxman, Professor Tarzan to talk about this last match here. And MS Chamburi, a good result from them. 12 eliminations for 27 points total. But Maxman, 4 rivals just can't seem to get that win. I was asking like during the match, 4 rivals still haven't gotten a win yet, have they? And you guys are both like, yeah, they still haven't. Well, not here either.
I brought this up and I told it to Tarzan. This is a team that has really good early, really good mid game, but when it comes to potentially trying to confirm those wins, try and get those extra eliminations on board, they tend to stumble towards the finish line, and it's very unfortunate because they had the best position in the southern end to get information to potentially deny teams position, which is what they did, pushing onto that shed from Genesis Dogma. It was so well played, by the way, but at the end they just didn't check behind themselves, so Nigma Galaxy had an opportunity to get an extra frag here and there, and they lose players because of that, and then they don't have that man advantage to then take that fight versus MSC. So a little bit unfortunate, though, which is good to see, is Nigma get himself a few eliminations, a few extra points. They desperately needed them, but this is still not the Nigma Galaxy that we expected to see after that very strong start of the league play.
Okay, we'll take a look at the second page here. You can see Damwon only 1 point. Again, one of the teams chasing for that 16th place position, as we did get to see FaZe and Bigatron on the front page. TJB, it seems like that dream Blank had, well, it was exactly what he said it was. Just a dream, unfortunately, as they don't take the victory here, at least on this Miramar. But as we take a look now at our MVP, High Boy. All right, big plays out of him.
Great from this team as well, guys. We talked about it. Like, Max and I were thinking about where are they going to drop, right? Are they going back to Picardo? Do they stick to Puerto Paraiso? No, they take away Nova's drop spot, right? So they control a stronger segment early on, and they transition okay. And I mean, High has earned his spot. I feel like we will see him towards the end of the tournament. Hopefully, I'm talking about NN, but BTR as a team needs to do quite a lot more.
Well, we can see our current overall standings from this Super Weekend only. See Genesis Dogma leading the way after their first match result, obviously with their 15 eliminations, I believe it was, sitting at 36 points total. But anyways, we're on to the second page. We're going to see here Stalwart at the very bottom. So unfortunately, Max Men and Professor Tarzan, they're kind of continuing that Super Weekend performance we saw last week.
Man, I checked out the interview too, and they knew it wasn't working at the end of that first Super Weekend, right? They're trying to make things work out and stick. Unfortunately, they are losing players a little bit earlier than what we would like to see from them, and it just shuts down the opportunities, Tarzan, to take those fights and actually win them dominantly. They took that engage versus DRS, and as Jason just said earlier, he threw a nade. It was a pretty good nade, but then they threw a better nade, and well, not what you're going to really do, because DRS has improved drastically to the point where one of of the teams with the most eliminations throughout the entire tournament almost, is just struggling to take those fights versus the Nepali team of DRS. It's odd, but they're struggling in the Super Weekends. They're pulling a new footballist, or now as you call it, almost Enigma Galaxy.
The thing is, right?
That's rough.
Yeah, when you talk about Stalwart, I actually want to continue with that point because we talk about teams needing to bounce back, but also teams knowing how to behave when they are playing well, and they're repeating this pattern that we don't want to see. Good league play, then they drop. Are they feeling like they are a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy like situation here? Like that happened last week. We are a bit scared that it may happen, but maybe that is the thing that caused it to be reinforced even more. So right now is the time to bounce, right? I hope they can find a way to come back. Like, after all, they do have the raw skills, we have to say.
Yeah, and if you guys are finding a way to get some more permanent items for your PUBG Mobile account, well, luckily for you, we have 2 different ways to do so. The first one with the fan favorite vote. You guys can go into the Esports Center and vote for your favorite team or favorite player and unlock various pink level items for yourself. But also we have the treasure box currently happening still at the moment. You guys just need to be watching within, well, again, the Esports Center over on YouTube. You collect some points you can use to eventually unlock some permanent items for yourself. And not to mention, we also have a community tournament, the PMGC community tournament with Game TV, which is open to everyone to register and play at, and you also get some PMGC tokens and potentially a Google Play card if you guys are successful enough. A lot for you guys to win and a lot for us to enjoy here on the show as well. It's pretty much just non-stop PMGC and PUBG Mobile throughout this entire month, but we will be heading into our third match in a well, you can see in 10 minutes time, and it's going to be our second Erangel of the day, I should say, but that will all be coming after a short break, so we'll see you guys then.
Split coming out from
What happened?
Come on!
Huh?
Oh no, what the hell?
They're going to be holding off the entirety of DRS, pushing in onto this onslaught now. Knock has taken place. Martin is going to be falling on top. That is a very smart play. Oh no! Oh no, Nima!
L always from the hand side here from Yasna Poliana. Nice. They could move closer. They could try to stick together. They find the revive coming from those stereotypical locations.
Yeah, boy.
So we saw these teams drop on by. No, don't do it. Don't save it. The paraglider is using this, okay?
Melo, though, in a position to maybe receive, yes, open arms Ragey in a battle of his own.
Roger that.
Wall does get done. Will get down. Back up.
Help me!
Roger that.
Sarah, in the meantime, has managed to push all the way up. But it's the holdout coming through from the Deadeyes guy. Straight through the window. Plants some.
Just starting to make their way outside of Tiki, which I would argue is a little bit too late. A couple of teams were like helicopter! Extended more, and I'm sure others will join in on the mix. If there's ever a time to say, helicopter, helicopter!
It was at this moment that Nathan knew. He up.
No!
Hang on a minute. It's a 1v3 Nova! He's lying his weight, he's gonna line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is gonna be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow!
of the holes in the floor and they were surrounded. So well done to Xavier there to be able to make that one happen. Nova going versus Infinity. Actually, oh my goodness me.
Hang on a minute.
It's a 1v3!
1v3 Nova! My goodness me, Infinity, you've got to be happy with that one. A Lone Ranger out in the fields doing work for the Infinities as they stay alive. Nova get curtailed. Dealt with as Pika strikes finally. Moving forward, but around the side, Logan looks to rain in, but no, he goes down. And now it's just Mela looking for a 1 versus 2 here against Deadeye's guys as they push in. Goes low, but gets the knock. Goes around the edge, looks for the spray, but goes low. The weapon swap is good and is able to find the kills. It's Deadeye's guys going down.
As a reject, they're just trying to push everyone, and I'm too sure about this, but they're fine! From the sidelines alongside Sarrow, they're gonna find 1, 2, 3. Good night, Deadeye's guys.
Money for themselves in the long run. AJ and Renee, they're looking for that second place for sure, and then try to work with it from there. Lift takes massive amounts of damage, but it's Jumper with the double. Sends this into a 2v2 now. DRS immediately, they scatter, looking for better positions. They go wide.
Important that Jimmy is there.
I mean, they get a team wipe, so they don't know there's anyone else in this building. They think it's finished, they think it's done. And already Jimmy finds one. There's another up top side. Looks for the other, and he will clean it up. Jimmy!
That's to seal the deal. The nade could be good here. Pop standing between him and the chicken dinner. Maybe look to reposition for the fight, but the nade dunks down, and it is Love to stand tall. The man, the myth, the legend.
Sneaking in from the side. He can hear him, he knows where he is, and Manhunt just seems to be tunnel vision on the fact that he's across this little mound, has no clue, he's to his left, and it is
Oh my God!
He's lying his weight, he's gonna line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is gonna be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow!
For this flame path, going from Primals all the way up to just between. Hang on a minute. I don't think carpooling is a thing in PMGC. Then, to the side, get to the tree. That's your cover.
Get over here!
And get your teammate involved.
I don't know. I feel like this is a painful situation if you're Satar. Let's see if he has any tricks up his sleeve. This guy's got the moves. He's got the moves, got the PMGC outfit. He looks clean. He's right on the top of the car.
I'm gonna need backup. Who's gonna go in now?
Magic Man himself, Satar. But in comes another player to try and what for. And this time, he's got a gun. Okay, yeah, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, dodging cars is one thing.
It's time to hot drop in onto Erangel. Which team? Well, that'll be your choice of who you want to do it against, and well, hopefully for you, you're gonna be able to perform to be able to beat them. I don't know where I'm going with this one, so I'm just gonna stop and change topics here. I'm just capping. We got Maxman, Professor Tarzan as well here to break down these matches. And gentlemen, we're headed into our second Erangel of the day. We did obviously get to see Genesis Dogma and the performance with Nickel in the tower, the oversight we saw him have before. But we have seen yet again, I mean, FaZe Clan. Another great performance out of them. We're seeing Bigatron, another good performance out of them. We're starting to see some consistency out of teams that we really haven't been able to see before.
Yeah, when you talk about consistency for Genesis Dogma in particular, you're looking at consistency throughout the players. Every single player almost has got 6 eliminations each. You're looking at, for example, Daybot, Nickel, and also Booms. All of them have 6 eliminations, which is very impressive throughout only 2 games so far. I'm really wondering if they can try and build upon that a little bit more, because I like seeing a confident Genesis Dogma here, Tarzan, going out for those extra frags, going out for the extra points, and especially if you get frags on top of it, and you're just going to, by default, able to get yourself to the late game a little bit more. So I like this from Genesis Dogma, but I want to see more continuity in what they're trying to build.
I like it because it's about flexibility. We talked about the word repertoire and the style. Like, I think as opposed to Enigma Galaxy that we mentioned before, that's quite predictable. Genesis Dogma has never really stayed on one way. to play the game. We start from the drop locations. They dare to change when it comes to early games. They dare to come very quick on the first rotation, but then knowing what it takes to slowly transition into the later game. Like Blank mentioned on that broadcast, like a player like Boom, who understands that sometimes you have to let things go. You need to pay your life so that your team gets rotation priority. So it's stuff like this that allows us to grow to like them a lot more.
Okay, well, let's head over to our commentators. You saw about 20 seconds until we hop into that next match. We got Imperium and Bled to take us away.
Well, thank you for that, Jason. Analyst stop talk, casters take over is the call, and we're jumping into our first game, but the third game of the Super Weekend here, Imperium. And listen, I know we had a day off, but I was just looking to see how some of these teams who hadn't made it to the previous Super Weekend, how they're going to be faring. They're faring good.
I'm looking very happy at the fact that BTR and FaZe have stepped up to the plate in this Super Weekend number 2. Their first Super Weekends respectively, putting a lot of pressure onto the likes of course, Nigma Galaxy, Cryptics, and a couple of other teams who didn't qualify in Super Weekend into Super Weekend number 2. For me, their target in my eyes is Nova's points. Right? They need to take over Nova, which is 126 points, which is an average of 8.4 points per game. Right now, BTR are on a total of 22. That's 11 points per game. So they're in a really strong mix of overtaking Nova at the end of this Super Weekend number 2. So this is really exciting stuff to see.
Yeah, indeed it is. And speaking of exciting, looking at a plane path, it's not too exciting. It's pretty standard, right? Cutting across the map, west to east. We should be seeing the majority of teams just, dropping in their usual locations. The circle, though, very similar to what we witnessed in Game 1. It was that eastern shift in the zone. And I do wonder if it's going to play out close to what we saw in the first game. Looking at the drops, I don't see any hot drops yet, but we could be in for a surprise.
I do notice there's a change in drop spot area for Stalwart, based off the fact that one, the plane path doesn't complement their normal drop spot in Novo, and also the Xavier are not in this Super Weekend, so it opens the door for a little bit of a shelter prison spread for Stalwart. Now, they do need to consider Tong Jiao Bao in around the same area, but for now, I like the fact that Stalwart are adapting. Who isn't adapting? That's BTR. They suffer the wrath of their Indonesian counterparts of Genesis Dogma, an initial knock on the Liquid. It's nice to see him playing in this Super Weekend, but it's not nice to see him on his knees.
Satar is looking to confirm the kill, and there we have it. I can see in the distance, like you could see Luxy making his way there, and then the moment he realizes that that particular rescue mission isn't quite going to pan out, immediately takes a U-turn. So a bit of an unfortunate start for BTR, but then again, it's okay. It's still early days. They've had a good, decent couple of games as well, alongside their SCA counterparts in the form of FaZe Clan. Starwood Esports, you brought this one up. You said that, because of the plane path, they've opted to go for a bit of a different draw, but that also brings them in close range of Tang Jiao Bao, particularly H-Sur and Action could be going up against each other. And at least looking at how H-Sur is running around, he seems to be completely clueless as to the potential presence of Action, and this could be a free kill for him.
As far as I know, Action got here first. H-Sur rotated to here with the vehicle. We'll have spotted the fact that a couple of doors are open, and we'll hear the shots of, or the vehicle, should I say, a Stalwart, and a lovely knock initially onto top.
Yeah, nice knock, but the hunt is on, and Action is going to make very quick work with him. I like that. I like the play from Action, from Starwood Esports there, Imperium. He could have potentially have taken that fight single-handedly. Instead, he calls for the cavalry to arrive, and that was a distraction. Eitza, he gets a knock, not quite able to confirm the kill, and for Tang Jiao Bao, the remaining members, they have a decision to make. Do they go on in? They're spread quite thin as well, quite far away from each other, or do they go up against the entirety of Starwood Esports, who, after that record-breaking second day in the league stage, it's been a bit of a tepid start thus far this Super Weekend.
Yeah, they've had 2 points in Game 1, 1 point in Game 2. It's been far worse than a tepid start, but I'm sure they'll know how to kick things off in this Super Weekend too as we get through this day one. I don't hold that against Tong Bao, by the way. I don't think they necessarily expected a team to drop in that area. Then again, I suppose you got to expect the unexpected. An initial spread by DRS as they held onto the east side of Yasnaya. They moved 2 players down to Mansion. I'm sure Mafia Ninja heard that vehicle, stopped close by, and he's getting that third-person perspective information. 628. They're, of course, in their usual drop spot, Primorsk quarry area, as they are outside the circle. Reject. I think they've had some very impressive performances at this week 2 of the PMGC East. The league play, they were a lot more aggressive. They were a lot more controlling in these games. They opened up that first game with a really strong result of 3rd place and a total of 17 points. Didn't follow that up with day 2, but I gotta say I've been so impressed with this Japanese side and what they brought to the table in this PMGC East. In my eyes, it's very refreshing to see, Blair.
It is extremely refreshing. Speaking of refreshing, MS Chonburi as well, right? Like, great second game there from them. Another SCA rep who, despite a very dismal week 1 for the majority of the SCA representatives, they have really come to play here today, seemingly. A team I'm going to be keeping an eye out, of course, is going to be on Enigma Galaxy, right?
Yes.
League Day gods and not so godly during the Super Weekend, at least the first one. Thus far, though, you know, it hasn't been terrible. It's been much better than what we saw on the final day of this first Super Weekend, where they had 1 point in 5 games, which is atrocious for a team of their caliber.
It is, for sure. And it's something they'll want to forget about very quickly. And that's where I liked that Blank brought up the narrative of BC Swell, who aren't in this Super Weekend for the 2nd time in a row, that they are not going to make it to the finals. I understand where Blank is coming from, but for the time being, I kind of want to disagree with how Nigma have been performing. Outside of the 11 points they got in the 2nd game today, they were coming into that game with an average of 3 points per game. You know, so it doesn't matter how many Super Weekends you qualify. If you're not getting the points required within that Super Weekend, you're putting yourself in a bad situation. Now, have BC Swell showing a massive elements of being able to overtake Nigma should they qualify for the 3rd Super Weekend? I would argue no. But if they do that and Nigma don't qualify for the 3rd Super Weekend, then hey, the chance is there. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out in the future. I know that's like a week away, but it's just something to think about because you brought Nigma to the table. And yes, they got a good result in the 2nd game, but they need to follow it up to stop that potential swell from BC Swell.
No pun intended, of course.
Of course not. Don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well, we do, of course, speaking of Enigma Galaxy, definitely would be looking to see how they're going to fare here. See Sarah in the distance being spotted. A couple of knocks, a couple of bullets being rattled away. Sarah needs to find some cover. He's going to drop on out. In fact, he will be knocked. This is huge from Freak. And now I can see everyone. Reggie is low. He's low. So what is he thinking? What is he thinking, Imperium? That's almost a free... Well, it won't be a kill, but a free knock. And they're single-handedly just making life miserable. And look at Roth pushing it.
I was just going to say... They should be pushing. They know exactly where they are. Rove throws in one nade in towards the building. Doesn't quite work out. Divine going to be trying to separate himself and get a knock, but it's not going to be coming through as Modi comes in to get the knock on Divine. And Dwello, he's left on his own. This is so good from Nigma.
So good from Nigma, and a bit of a mistake, couple of mistakes being made by some of the players there from Reject. You'll just spot it. Oh, there we go. That should be it. The nade should seal the deal. No, cooked it a little too much. But Duello, I just fear his days are numbered unless his UMP could do a lot of damage. He's trying desperately. It's a bit of a messy fight, but he brings out the mini 14 does rough in that very close quarter battle. And a great play from Nigma Galaxy, punishing Reject for the couple of mistakes they made.
Despite doing well in league play, I would argue that's like the best we've seen in Nigma so far. I know it's an isolated team fight, But in the early parts of a game, when you get one knock followed by a second, you gotta take that opportunity. If you don't take that opportunity, you're just wasting that chance. So very well played by Enigma. We're also seeing a scrambling of teams rotating as this phase 2 has gone down. The Southeast MS Chambori, DRS, they're interacting with each other. Jasper finishes off Nima.
It's a three-way scuffle here, but looks like DRS committed to this fight. You know, Gyalzin, barely alive. NC2 will quickly be put out of his misery, I assume. And 4 rivals, they saw all the commotion, and they're like, yeah, we're not having any of this. And Starwood Esports, apart from the 1 kill, they have been kind of quiet thus far. Well entrenched inside of the zone as well, so there's no immediate need for them to make a move. Infinity, though, I'm keeping an eye on the minimap here that we have on our secondary monitor is Imperium, and I can see them still milling around in the military island. Of course, once they do make an entry into have both options. They can head towards the Ferry Pier Bridge, or they're going to be heading towards a Novo Bridge, and clearly they're going to be heading towards a Novo Repnoi Bridge, where because they're coming in slightly a little late, it's not going to be anyone bridge camping them. There's not going to be anyone at the other end of the bridge. So they're going to be having a free entry into the main island.
If you're noticing, a good few teams are adapting quite well compared to game 1, where you pointed out a little bit of a similar circle path for the first 2 phases. Tongja Bao, I think, of being a lot closer together inside this Lumberyard hillside. FaZe Clan opting to rotate more on the eastern side of prison rather than the western side of prison, because it's presumably for them a little bit of a less congested entry point, and they've gotten ahead of Rico Infinity. So lovely team rotation from FaZe Clan. BTR gonna have to try and deal with Genesis Dogma, but Genesis Dogma do have to also think about Tongja Bao. You can see Satar using a third-person perspective to look up the hill to try and get any kind of information on where the players of TJB are.
And Genesis Dogma, they've already managed to... Oh, Long's been spotted, by the way. Yeah, but once you got the chicken dinner, for me, I think that's going to be the catalyst, right, for Genesis Dogma. I think that's going to be the catalyst for them to start challenging the teams on the tippity top, challenging the likes of 4 rivals, of the likes of an Infinity, of Secret, or even Starwood Esports if they do manage to replicate their performance in the league stage. So definitely exciting things here in store for us as Starwood. I take the name and they appear. Action on top at the entrance of the bunker. Gotta be rattling a few shots towards the beleaguered South Koreans, who thus far, and I gotta say this, I don't want to sound rude, but I gotta be brutally honest, Imperium haven't really impressed me so much thus far.
The biggest reason why I agree with you is just their passiveness and their passive play overall. Yes, they did do well in League Week 2 from a placement standpoint, where they got some strong finishes. I believe a couple of thirds, or a third and fourth, or a couple of top 5s at least. But their lack of kills was very noticeable. And if they don't start to show up that aggression more heavily, they're going to get drowned in this Super Weekend number 2. Teams also might get drowned as you see phase 3 shifting over massively to the east. A good 10-15% of it being water. It takes away the landmass. Prison Hill and Lumberyard Hill are incredibly vicarious to hold on to. We could see some teams going for a very wide rotation through Milta Power on towards that coastal line position.
Speaking of rotation, I was actually assuming Infinity to come in from the Novo Bridge. Instead, they went for the western one, and in the meantime, Team Secret catching Starwood in the rotation. Look at the number of teams just driving past Team Secret. And for Team Secret, it's like, oh, wait, who do we shoot at? There are too many of them. So they're just gonna be waiting behind, but they don't really have any real rush. They're still inside of the zone. They can hold on to this position and play depending on where the circle shifts.
I understand quick rotations based off a circle reaction, but when you're not even that close to the edge of the circle, you don't need to rotate quickly. Just stand your ground, wait about 10 to 15 seconds, and have a little bit of patience, because sometimes teams are too desperate to move in. We saw Down One Gaming suffer that in the second game of the day in Miramar, where they just went for a deep rotation without any real knowledge, and they got absolutely blown to smithereens. It nearly happened again, only luckily for them, Stalwart were rotating close by, and Team Seeker were able to pick up a kill in that regard, so Down One Gaming avoided the action.
Right now, there is no avoiding the action for FaZe. But oh, 628. They're going to be third-partying their way into this particular skirmish. Enigma Galaxy going up against FaZe Clan. Both the teams have 4 players alive. Enigma Galaxy, of course, top. They have most number of eliminations thus far in this particular game, wiping out Team Reject earlier on. What are they going to do now? Are they going to commit to this fight? Because FaZe is pretty well entrenched, and I don't think that's a fight Enigma would be necessarily looking to take.
They also don't need to take it. The reason why Roof was a little bit more heavily forward is so they could get the revive onto their knock player and then disengage away. Some very clever play from Enigma, realizing when it's time to engage, when it's time to disengage. Both teams are in good position, but I would argue, based on where this Phase 4 might go, Enigma are in a little bit of a slightly better position. Plus, when you look at the angles of pressure both teams have from the likes of Genesis Dogma and 628, FaZe are in a little bit more of a pressure point in that regard. So I'm curious to see how they're going to deal with that. And that's why I definitely respect the fact that Enigma disengaged away. Team Seekers still have a spread on the northern edge of the circle between the eastern side of prison and across the road side. DRS have the north of Lipovka inside, and that's going to be a massive shift away. And that's why I thought a couple of teams like Four Rivals and Tongja Bao would send themselves up towards the coastal line.
Yeah, it is seemingly looking like a coastline finish, right? Especially if you pointed out, they are already there, so they can hold on to this position unless, of course, they get swarmed by other teams having the same idea. Tangja Bao, though, like you said, great position. They have a high ground. They're playing at the edge of those cliffs as well. It's a great position to be at, except you are exposed on the far side, right, which can be messy. Speaking of messy, DRS, okay, they're making quick work of Damn One Game. I thought that was a knock against the DRS as well, but AJ will stay alive, and Sung and Uni. You did say they're passive, Imperium, but I guess they can be forgiven for being a little passive, especially looking at where they are positioned at the moment.
I think with this kind of circle as well, I think it is rewarded for a little bit of passive play. There's very little hard cover. A couple of shacks is, to an extent, the best you can hope for, especially when you're down to 2 players. The hillside has a limited amount of hard cover to play around. MS Chambori rotating to a good position. Rico Infinity have the ability to push back BTR, but they got to be careful of Infinity looking down from above. Rico, I think they had a decent result in the second game in Miramar, but they left it a bit too late to be aggressive. They left it a little bit too late to be proactive on their position, and it meant that they were put, I felt, under a little bit too much pressure late game. The good thing for them in this situation is they have kind of Infinity overlooking them like the angels above, giving them a little bit of light, guiding them and putting pressure onto BTR.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. You can see, they can pretty much just relax listening to the siren song of the bullet just whizzing past them. Although, to be honest, if I had bullets whizzing past my head, I would not be feeling comfortable is going to be MS John Curry. Popping Ponzai, just a little bit of a tickle from Team Secret. They just try to rattle off the shots. And here comes Satar from Genesis Dogma. Finds one member now, looking for the second. He knows his area, spots him out. And Jumper trying his desperate best to find some cover, but here comes Genesis Dogma. Nicel knows exactly where Jumper is. They get the knock, they will get the finish in Team Secret. They've been whittled down just to, I do believe, 2 members now.
Yep. Would you like a nickel for your troubles, Team Secret? Why, yes, I would. Genesis Dogma deliver that blow, puts pressure on towards Team Secret. Just Fredo and iShots left alive. Great proactivity from Genesis Dogma. We saw this in the Miramar game. Blank and John alluded to when the circle shifted massively away and they said, okay, this is the true test of Genesis Dogma. They swept through really well in that game, and they're doing the exact same here on towards Team Secret, covering the angles, moving in as a team. Great teamwork and communication.
Absolutely. We all knew how good they can be at taking fights, at taking certain team fights, but they always seem to fall short, maybe due to positioning or whatnot. But right now, as you pointed out, that was such a clean wipe of Team Secret. One of the better teams we've had thus far. Meanwhile, the 2 Chinese teams going up against each other, Tangja Bao and 628, but 628 have other troubles because El Chapo from Cryptics are pushing in onto this position. We spoke about how they had such a great position on the cliffs, but it looks like Cryptics want to snatch it away from them. But looking at the circle shift, Cryptics might have a change of heart.
Well, I think they're better off dealing with what's behind them before they consider any kind of push into the circle. So
Fair.
I do appreciate that they're committing to this fight against 628. The good thing is that the circle shifting away means they're less likely to get targeted from behind. So committing to this fight is even more viable. But that's a couple of lovely sprays from Sunan.
Well, Sunan got a ghillie suit. Not going to be very helpful, especially when he's going to be lying on the rock. They go, hey, why is there a bush out in just clean rock, no soil anywhere? So they're going to have a very comfortable time finishing off. Even Sunan, who was trying to be, 33Z, trying to be very cheeky there, but he gets knocked. And for Cryptics, they were sticking around for so very long, and it is going to be 4 rivals who are going to punish them for it. BTR going for a quick rotation as well, while bullets are being exchanged with Infinity and Rico Infinity, and BTR have managed to somehow, comparatively unscathed, kind of find themselves in a pretty good spot, except Cryptics are still behind them.
And that's why I say Cryptics should pull this off as DRS engaging on towards the members of Genesis Dogma. But this is Genesis Dogma we're talking about, and they get taken out. Kill number 7 for the Indonesian side.
They need to get the reses very quickly. 2 members down as the Cryptics. They maybe took a little too long, right? And they wanted to ensure they took down 628, but now they're walking into Rico Infinity. Oh, Skatan, they're not even looking his direction, but he somehow whiffs his shots, and that should be a knock and a finish going the way of for BTR actually from the sidelines. You can't forget they had managed to make their way in, and they have third party them, and now down to the final 9 teams in the circle.
FaZe Clan gonna go up against Infinity. Logan has been taken out, so just 3 players strong for the side who dominated the first day of League Week 2 and overall looked very strong in the Super Weekend. Down 1 Gaming being eliminated. 3 players for FaZe Clan as well. Beer 11 playing in this game with Corpai, Tony, and MR5. I asked actually Beer 11 who was IGLing for FaZe in the second day of the League Week, and it's MR5 who was IGLing, so I don't know if it's continued as Corpai is playing, but that definitely made a difference.
Uzi, just the 1 bullet on Corpai. You take his name, he's just cursing everyone here in Imperium. But yeah, he's been knocked down. There's no guarantee he can still be res here, but FaZe, everyone's lying prone. And this is offering opportunity for Infinity because they know they have an uphill task ahead of them, and they're gonna try and ensure they take care of FaZe before they make a move towards their right-hand side. Tony K trying to be sneaky, but he will be spotted by Uzi. MR5 at least able to reply back, but they're it's a 1v1 right now all of a sudden. 1v1 between FaZe and Infinity, and Mela, he's got a nade, he's pushing on up. Mobbing 1. Go for the res on his teammate, but is he going to commit to his question as MS Tronbury? Look at how low they are, Imperium!
Oh, they're down, but they're not out. 4 rivals. They're going to get a knock on the Ponze. A first aid was pulled off by Pop. That allows him to push in. It allows him to put a little bit of pressure, but I think he's wary of a potential third party from Stalwart from behind. The circle shifted down south. Nigma third party, by the way, to take down FaZe. Infinity are under pressure. Pop stands up. He gets taken out. Lovely nade from Stone.
Pop goes to Weasel, and now Infinity, they managed to get the res onto Uzi Mela, but now he's going up against Enigma Galaxy, a team 8 kills. 8 kills Imperium. We had questions about this team, but they are looking incredible. The nade from Modi will find Mela, and now Infinity down to Uzi. He can still get the res for his teammates, but for the time being, they are pinned down. And Stalwart Esports, despite, I'm just looking at a kill feed, it looked like they were just dropping like flies, but they still have 2 in play. And when you have this man on your screen right now, Action, still in contention, you can never, ever count out the Mongolians.
Let's see if they can pull something big off. Bella's taken out. Ah, lovely shot from Lord. It's going to be kill number 10 for Enigma Galaxy. Double digits as they're into the top 3.
They are on a tear, 8 alive in the server. It's going to come down to 4 rivals, Enigma Galaxy, and of course the 1 surviving member of Stalwart Esports. I can't even see him anywhere nearby.
Is this going to be it? Is this going to be 4 rivals chicken dinner? Their first chicken dinner is Super Weekend.
Sure about it?
I don't want to Maxman curse it, but I can't help but feel it's incoming.
It could. The one thing going the way of Enigma Galaxy is that the player got knocked down here. The res has taken place. It was quite a distance away, so they weren't quite able to confirm the kill. And action's still there. And action is going to be the X factor. Oh, that's a great spray from Roth. While they were a little bit distracted by Lord, just driving his car straight out in no man's land. That's going to allow Roth to get the one knock. Now repositioning himself, he's got a great angle. He's got a little rock to work with as well. He can just ruin their day.
Like you
You
said,
screwed them, Imperium.
I
You
think I
screwed
might
them
have
all.
cursed him. I might have spoken too soon. However, Action is still alive, and he could get a couple of shots into the two players of Enigma Galaxy. There's circle shifts down south, and if it couldn't have gone worse for 4 Rivals, it has, based on this circle shift, to have to move even further. A Stalwart are taken down.
Well, Stalwart finally will be taken out, but yeah, Enigma Galaxy in a great position. Penumbra, he is getting tickled from every direction, and those are not gentle ones. He's gonna lie prone. He's got a little bit of a ridge to work with, but look at Lord. Look at the incessant aggression coming out from Enigma Galaxy. And as long as Freak is in this position, he's got that watchtower position, so to speak, and he's just going to be laying down lead from above. And yeah, 4 Rivals just getting peppered from all directions. They're burning, they're getting naded, they're taking bullets. Penumbra, he will finally fall. No, he's still up and standing. Rithal getting a knock. Now, it's a 3v2. Very doable here. Hamodi needs to find Rithal unless something crazy happens from Penumbra. He's still lying prone. Hamodi has an inkling where he is, but he's going to be looking the wrong way. Penumbra can get the knock here. He's going to find it, and now it's a 2v2. 4 Rivals, despite all the obstacles they've faced thus far, could potentially pull this one back. Lord and Roth had a lot of work to do. Penumbra still taking damage, still burning, running on in from this blue, and Roth and Lord, they're committing to the fight. They're not going for the res this late, especially. Rithal is going to finish off Freak in the meantime. Penumbra is going up 1 against 2, and unfortunately, despite the very valiant attempts from the final 2 members of 4 Rivals Imperium, it is not to be. Enigma Galaxy, they get a chicken dinner, and they played that one so very well.
Firstly, I'm sorry, 4 Rivals. I shouldn't have said it. I really shouldn't have said it, but I just couldn't help it. It looks so good for you guys. But also, Enigma Galaxy, I think that was a 15 elimination chicken dinner. So proactive. They were on point. Like I said, remember, they disengaged away from FaZe Clan. They ended up third-partying them 5 to 7 minutes later. Those little decisions early on in the game are so important when it comes to the late game. You're not always going to get it right, but when you do, it just feels so damn good. The opportunistic squad wipe onto Reject as well early on in the game, it just set themselves up so nicely. And this is the Enigma that we knew could come into PMGC that we haven't really seen up until now. And off the back of a solid result in Miramar, this is a big turnaround potential.
Oh, listen, like, I have to disagree with you there, because we have seen them perform well in the league stage, right? They've shown what they can do. It's just that in the Super Weekend, they seem to...
True.
Maybe it was the nerves, right? Maybe they choked a little bit. It's fine. But right now, the chokers no more. This has been an incredible game from them, and even the way they're winning the fights or winning those duels, it was just so clean, Imperium, that they were able to... Exactly. It never looked like, in all the team fights they took, it never looked like, even the 50-50 ones, it never felt like they were in a position where they could lose a couple of members. No, they were winning these fights in a very convincing fashion against some very solid teams.
Feel bad for 4 Rivals, but it is what it is. They'll have to go once again, just like we're going to go back once again to Jason and the crew.
Well, Enigma Galaxy sporting their 1+s, which is the actual sponsor here of PMGC. If you didn't know about it, with its flagship performance and an immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers, the 1+ 9 and 9 Pro are your best shot to climb the leaderboards, and it seems to be your best shot to win a chicken dinner. Maybe 4 Rivals needs to pick up some of these bad boys because they're always in second place. They can't seem to just get that victory under their belt here, Max.
Stop it, Jason. You're doing this to me all the time. But yes, okay, then they're not going to get that chicken dinner just yet. But if we're happy to see one team finally get himself a chicken dinner with 15 eliminations on board, it is none other than Enigma Galaxy. Because we said it, we weren't sure if they could potentially hold on to that 16th position after, I would say that, I mean, not even what I would say, what was clearly the weakest first Super Weekend and 4 team. It's a good call out there. The perfect 2-2 split, Tarzan, for a big portion of that game to just make sure they stopped all of the teams trying to make into the circle. This is the type of playstyle we expect from Enigma Galaxy on a more consistent basis.
Now, if you look at those results through the past competitive year, this is the team that is known for doing this. So where have they gone since then? We've been waiting and waiting and finally found it. Of course, I think a lot of it comes down to them taking that early fight, which we rarely see it anymore, guys. Like phase 1 fights between them and another team, but they took it and they took it clean. I think that was the start that they needed, and that was huge for them. Right now, for this week so far, not looking shabby at all.
But yeah, considering Enigma Galaxy were the bottom of the table of the 47 points, they've almost just doubled up in the first 3 matches of the first day. So any points that Bigatron, FaZe Clan, Damwon were able to accumulate so far, well, it's not going to be working towards Enigma Galaxy at least, maybe towards a couple of other teams out there, obviously the ones who didn't qualify here for the second Super Weekend. But as we can see here, TJB and also 628, 8 and 5 points respectively for these 2 Chinese teams. The only 2 Chinese teams actually participating here in this Super Weekend.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to DM Kalaris and ask him, do you think Tongjabao is a 16th place team? And I probably answer no. I expect them to be a lot higher eventually. It's been a rough day for Tongjabao because it's still going back to that central playstyle very early on. They're going for the wide splits, but they're a very good defensive team. When they have to pull the trigger to try and get themselves in a more contested position, that's where they start to struggle a little bit, I would say, Tarzan. So we know exactly what they need to improve upon, but unfortunately I've not seen any major changes on the side of Tongjabao that makes me think that they're going to play that specific way anytime soon, unfortunately.
It's about execution. You have a good idea, you have 3 good ideas, pick one. Don't pick all 3, they've been a little bit too greedy, to say the least, around those huge splits. But it's not something that's too hard to fix, I feel like. They just need to know, simple it down. You know, that we don't have to do everything, and I think that could be just that one thing that can fix it all.
Yeah, he said, I mean, don't pick 3 strategies, pick one. Well, look, if you guys at home, you don't have to pick just one. There's 3 ways you can win rewards here while watching PMGC. First is the viewer vote. You can do your fan favorite vote for your teams and players within the Esports Center, but also if you're watching within the Esports Center, you're earning points towards the treasure box, which you can use to unlock some permanent items. You can either watch within the Esports Center or over on YouTube as well. And don't forget, we still have the PMGC Community Tournament happening with Game TV. It's open to everyone. Probably not us though, because we would destroy all of you at home, especially with Max leading the charge. But you guys go register and play, and you can get some PMGC tokens and Google Play cards as well. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Make sure you guys are trying to earn as much as possible here while you're watching. Obviously, as we have the exciting games still to come, we got Sanhok coming up next, and honestly, I mean, with no D Xavier, I'm not expecting too early of a fight to happen right off the bat.
It should be fine for Deadeye's guys if they want to go back to their good old Paradise Resort position. But hey, we know Enigma Galaxy, they're good at healing off. Maybe a little bit too early. I'd like them to calm down a little bit, but this could be another strong result from them. So we'll see if they can get a good back-to-back here.
Well, we'll find out. We're going to head to a break. When we come back, we got Sanhok ready to go.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
Well, we know you guys like watching the action, like watching the matches, and luckily for you, we will be hopping into Sanhok shortly. But before we get into that, I do want to at least give us a chance to finally talk about how that last match finished, though, because we did get to see 4 rivals and Enigma Galaxy, and we were watching how Enigma were actually playing out that position, right? They got actually aggressive towards 4 rivals, and they were playing like the gatekeepers to prevent them from getting to the zone, but they didn't really play it out in a smart way. Is that a fair way to say it?
They got a little bit sloppy towards the end, I would say. I don't know if that's the perfect word to potentially use to describe how that went down for them, but they were very aggressive towards the late game part in terms of making sure that, for example, Stalwart could not make into the circle. They took an amazing fight towards Infinity where they knew they had the advantage. You just want to make sure you push them into the blue. They have no escape, so you're just going to pick up an easy bunch of frags onto the side, which is good to see from them. That G2 split, I would say, Tarzan, was just the best thing ever because 4 rivals in their position, the blue right behind them, they were even having pot shots taken their way by Stalwart, I believe it was, from the back. So they were just completely pinched, and Nigma Galaxy knew they had the advantage. This is what I love to see from them. When they are in control, they just use it to the full potential to try and secure those wins.
It's about this utility use as well from this region. I actually thought about, drawing parallels between regions in playstyle, the way that the entry zones take fights. The throwables are there for this team, of course, you can see from this graphic, and Raouf asked the RGR did make that 2-2 split very decently, as we spoke about it in the green room. I think towards the end, what Jason mentioned was really clear about this team feeling the aggression, feeling the taste of blood in their mouth, because it's almost like they forgot how it feels like that they've potentially gone a little bit too far. They could have done that in a more, how should I say, reserved way, like make the blue do some work for you, but they kind of push out of zone and then just made it a little bit too scary, and like just wait for the audio cue, use that Rich and make it easy for yourself.
I mean, I did like the way we're talking about Raouf and how he like transitioned with the car to get behind a rock, and I like how they got aggressive in some like really good positions, but over peaking, they gave 4 rivals so many chances to potentially get some cheeky knocks that eventually could turn the tides against them. If they lost that match, I mean, long run, not a big deal, but morale-wise, I think they needed to win that one. They needed that little bit of a bump within the team because they were looking disastrous in the first week. And like we said before, they've almost scored more points in 3 matches in day 1 of the second Super Weekend than they scored the entire last weekend of 15.
Yeah, it's oh man, I'm still a little bit triggered because I still want to see my 4 rivals win. It's still in my mind here, Jason. It's going to happen eventually. Do you think it's still a curse? Because usually when I would talk about a team, they would go out in 15th, 16th position. They keep arriving in second. I mean, that's an improvement, right? I don't know. I would say so. I think it's going fine.
No.
No? Okay.
It's almost like because you made a point and then the opposite happened. So the opposite of winning,
fair enough.
Not getting second would be like maybe winning, like as an improvement. But you know what? Like they are doing as well. After all, they are not at the bottom, and there is a very solid reason why. And we like those reasons because they just know how to play pockets, right? Sometimes it's at the price of certain players, but it works for the points. We're talking about security. The margin of error is actually quite huge, talking about the amount of points we allow into the finals as well as the grand finals when we merge with the West. So I think it's about whether teams want to experiment and to what degree can they actually afford experimenting but not feeling like it threw themselves off.
Well, while we do have a bit of time, I think we have about like 6 minutes until we do head into the match. I was actually just going to call this perfectly. So we can take a look at the overall Super Weekend rankings just from this Super Weekend. It's not the total from both 2 weeks, so don't rely on their placings too much because that's not even close to where they actually are. But let's talk about a couple of teams here. I mean, Genesis Dogma obviously had a fantastic victory in the first match of the day. They're sitting on 44 points, but I mean, 4 rivals, again, like we can't ever talk badly about them other than the fact they can't seem to close out matches, Max, but they are so consistent at putting up really good placements. And I mean, their limb's a little bit behind, but they're still third place overall. You can't knock them.
Yeah, man, we have short death segments, and yet you're able to squeeze in and just hit me on the head, Jason, with 4 rivals not able to get wins twice in the same death segment.
I'm efficient.
It's truly
I did
efficient.
once, so it's 3 times.
It's true.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to do that, Tarzan. Only I can do that.
It's true.
It's true. He's got bullying privileges on me. That's how it works out. But I mean, 4 rivals, sure, they're still not able to get the wins. But when you talk about their consistency, if you look at their first Super Weekend, they were second. It was 142 points, just a few points behind Infinity. They were in first, and they are still in that top 3 position right now when it comes to Super Weekends, at least for this second Super Weekend. So Infinity's struggling a little bit more. If this is a tendency that goes out throughout the entirety of this second Super Weekend, which would be insane to think about, but for this PMGC League stage, we might actually see 4 rivals be in first place without a single chicken dinner because of that extreme consistency. And if that happens, that would be one of the most insane things I think I've seen in a PMGC so far, because you just don't see that happen, especially at this stage, a team without a win being first. Like, that would be huge.
I want to talk about DRS. The reason why is I feel like we love them, right? The South Asian Kings, as some people would call them, but we didn't like their playstyle at the start of the tournament. But apparently Super Weekend 1 was very good for them. So coming in, like after a mediocre 2 days of league play, can they repeat what they've done last Super Weekend? That will be a key question, because so far there's not a lot of screen time. It's pretty standard what they've done, nothing flashy. But we know that they can muster those points in, like through the 15 games last week. So I'm waiting. I feel like there should be some pleasant surprises.
Well, I do want to talk about two more teams here. I mean, Team Secret and FaZe Clan, both with 8 and 9 kill eliminations for themselves, but they have 26 points and 25 points respectively. For me, it's more about FaZe Clan in particular, because they've had 3 top 6 finishes in a row, but to only show 9 eliminations from that, it makes me question how they're actually playing. It feels like maybe they're playing overly safe just to make sure to get as many placements as possible to try to get some points to catch up to the rest of these teams.
Yeah, it's been a playstyle that helped them to qualify in the Super Weekend in the first place, so I can't go heavily against it. But when you look back at the FaZe Clan that we knew, Tarzan, that we were talking a lot about when they were playing in a PMPL, they're such an aggressive team, they're a controlling team, they like to get to that late game and get all those extra frags and those extra placement points on board. I think they come to a tough realization that this is just a way harder lobby to make a long an impression into, so they're just taking a little bit of a slow approach. Unfortunately, that did cause them to miss out on the first Super Weekend, which they're desperately going to try and make up for. But I think that when they start getting a little bit more confident, they're going to start hitting their stride. I think that's when they're going to maybe try and get those eliminations a little bit more. But I think they're still trying to learn, and it's just a long process, right? I would say. So they're getting there slowly but surely. But as long as they get there, by the time they get into the league finals, that's the most important part.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? They made it work coming back into Super Weekend through a league play of Erangel and Sanhok, and we're playing Sanhok up next. So this is quite interesting. Have they learned something that can transition into this? But we expect them in boot camp against another team that really needs the momentum. Star Wars Esports, we've seen that hot drop is recurring. We like it. I think it will happen again. The Star Wars just got a little bit of increase in terms of how they perform. We're talking about Super Weekend from that previous game. So momentum will be huge here. Whoever it wins that fight in boot camp, I think they will propel up, and that will be something that will be extremely, extremely exciting.
So how confident are you in saying that, Tarzan? Are you going to predict the team who's going to win this match then?
I'll pick FaZe. I'll just pick FaZe. I don't know why, I just feel like it. I feel it, and I'm going to stick with it.
Okay, Max, real fast.
I'm going to go with, I want to see 6 to 8 get a win. It's Sanhok, and they tend to do well, so let's go.
All right, let's head over to our commentators to take us into the match. Once again, it's Bleh and Imperium.
FaZe up or 6 to 8. Interesting picks coming out from our desk here, Imperium. You have anything to add to that?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that none of them picked Genesis Dogma, because they opened this Super Weekend number 2 with a chicken dinner. Their best team, their best map in the first Super Weekend was Sanhok, where they got an average of 11 points per game. So I would put them in a bit of a good shout for this chicken dinner in Sanhok. They're riding high off the back of some good performances today.
I mean, a team that should hopefully be continuing their, just riding the high would be Enigma Galaxy, right? This is just such a different team we're seeing, and that makes me super excited, because the MENA teams really impressed us on day 1, day 2 of the league stage of the first week, and then it kind of fell off.
Big time. But they are back, and certainly back with a bang. Beer 11.
Oh.
Tarzan's call. Throws a nade. That's a lovely pre-nade. It connects under Withdraw.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. He wasn't able to take out his gun in time. The timing on that could not have been better. So yeah, gets the knock. Doesn't quite get the confirmed kill. I'm forgetting how English. Oh, Marshall, ruthless in the face. Now Tang Jabao, man down, and Cryptics looking to just kind of pincer these up, rather separate the individuals and take the fights. But Lazy Boy, is he aware that there is someone just right outside? Manhunt trying his best. He had an opportunity to get the knock, but unfortunately now he is going to be hunted down by Senkai and Marshall. He's got teammates nearby to help him out. Senkai running one out. I'm not sure why he went for that play. Got a little too over-eager, trying to confirm the kill despite the knock that took place, and now there is a real chance of Tang Jabao to ruin Cryptix' day, because Marshall is low and Senkai, he's down.
Still an advantage in the favor of Cryptix. Lovely knock! A Lazy Boy with the double kill. beautiful from Cryptics.
For a moment there, Merrim, it looked like it was getting a little scary for Cryptics with Lazy Boys. Like, yeah, no, just slams the door right in the face of Tang Jiabao, and with that, we will lose a first team. Of course, it's Sanhok, you know, losing players early on. It's kind of surprising. Penumbra, I can't even see his health.
Insane start to this game. Just have to point this out. Some very weird splits, by the way. FaZe had a bit of a weird split between outside of boot camp and on the north and then to the east of boot camp. 4 rivals with an interesting split, and they're kind of getting caught out by getting an initial kill onto one of the FaZe players. Stoned is on his own. You can see Pimboru trying to avoid him, and yeah, some interesting movements from the start of this game from a couple of teams. Stone does step up, gets a couple of shots off. Rico and Finny going for a very early rotation across the bridge.
Yeah, and for those of you sharp-eyed viewers, if you had a chance to look at the map when it came out, the first circle, it is one of the ones where it's about 40%, 45% in the water, I guess.
I'd say about 35 to 40%, mate.
Close enough. Okay, there we go. But that's still quite a lot of water for a first circle, especially on Sanhok. So I can totally understand why some of these teams would be looking to go for some of these early rotates. Starwood Esports, though, they have been kind of quiet, and Fidan will be spotted. We can see 33Z immediately going prone the moment he hears his bullets getting rattled off. So Starwood Esports, while they are tunnel vision on Rico Infinity, but 628, they're going to take advantage of that and try and just kind of pincer Rico Infinity between themselves and Starwood Esports.
I'm all in favor of an early rotation, but 1, you got to know where you want to go, and 2, you got to be aware that not only teams who already land in the area you're going to, but 2, other teams that are most likely going to go for a bit of an earlier rotation. And Stalwart have pulled this off in the past, by the way. They pulled off that rotation from boot camp across the water onto that northwest island, and they were always going to pull it off quicker than Rico Infinity. So as much as I appreciate that from Rico, again, just a lack of information from that one. And FaZe Tony K will get a shot onto peak, and that's going to find him knocked to his knees.
Tony K is aware. He is aware where the other teammates are for Starwood Esports. Is going to be pushing on in to try and confirm the kill. At 6-2-8, they are not gonna allow Rico Infinity to escape unscathed. Prestigo, though, great work. Looking to get the finish. I like the attempt. I appreciate the attempt. And Hunan from above. He finds the final member, Esketon, trying to just waltz through the door and get a trade with Yunan from all the way above, able to take him down. And yeah, with that, we say goodbye to Rico Infinity and Tang Jiabao very early. As FaZe, they continue to harass other members. 4 rivals across this nice little channel of water. A few bullets getting put into their bodies, but they're going to be fine for now. They're going to take cover. They're going to patch themselves up.
So let's reevaluate where BTR and FaZe stand in terms of the overall standings in relation to Nova. Like I said, Nova having 8 points per game from their first Super Weekend. BTR currently have 30 points in their first 2 games, an average of 10 points per game, and FaZe at 25, which is an average of 8.3. So right now, currently, both teams are on target to get ahead of Nova after his first Super Weekend. So I do like that from those 2 teams.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Nova would be the team that everyone who sat out the first Super Weekend will be targeting. And rightfully so. And I think it's a very good sign as well for FaZe and for BTR that they got off on the right foot here at Barrier. Because if they had a slow day 1, then the pressure would start mounting, right? They're like, oh, holy Christ, we finally qualified, and here we are already struggling again. So it's really good sign for the Southeast Asian teams. And speaking of BTR, if there's one team that they would be happy to go up against, it would have to be Damwon Gaming. I mean, I hate to say it, but
no,
I'll just say
you're right. And it's not like Damwon don't try to fight, but it's like they're currently a little bit too slow, or just they're in the wrong mindset for the time being. And especially in Sanhok, where you really need to take the bull by the horn, you really need to kind of bully the area around you to create any kind of level of suppression, because there's automatically less landmass available. The phase 1 blue zone is starting to creep its way in. Teams that did land on the eastern side of the map, recognizing that there's no real point in us rotating early because, you know, we're already going to be coming across teams. If we leave it a little bit later, there's going to be a lot more space in that mainland. So Team Secret, Genesis Dogma, DRS, and the Affinity all still, for the most part, outside the circle. Cryptic's following a little bit suit. Same with Nigma down on the southwest island.
Infinity, though, all the way up north. There's Tatmok, Mong Nai. They have pretty much all free real estate. Now, if the zone does shift towards the Camp Alpha island, then sure, Infinity could be in for a world of pain. But if it's kind of like a couple of circles we've seen in the past Imperium, where we saw it like over the water, over, you know, across a bridge or something, then they could be in a pretty good spot to just ruin a lot of players' days. As finally, BTR will get a knock on one member of Damwon Gaming, and Zuxi, good repositioning there. Fabian, that nade was on its mark, at least based on where Zuxi was a couple of minutes back, but good repositioning, ensuring that Damwon Gaming not able to quite get a trade. So a couple of nades will be exchanged here, and for BTR, maybe now they know who they're up against, you know, just maybe making a little bit more haste and just taking care of Damwon as quickly as possible before they get third party would probably be the call of the hour.
For now, yes. For the time being, I understand why they're being a bit passive, because phase 2 is about to pop up and we don't know where it's going to go. Luckily for them, there's not really too much behind them as a nade goes in the direction of Liquid. Faris disengages away, looks for a couple of shots, trying to suppress the two members of BTR chasing him down.
He's lobbing all the nades he's got. Oh,
there you go.
Sung, though, finding Liquid. That's a nice one, and we can see Hanba pushing in. He needs to find Forest here, or else it's going to be problematic. Liquid gets finished off by Sung. That's huge. And now Highboy versus Forest. Forest, if he can somehow escape this little hut and find some cover, it could be big.
Oh, so close!
Somehow his Achilles heels have been shattered, but he somehow jumps to safety, but not for long. Zuxi will finish him off, and that's going to be 2 quick finishes for BTR. Sure, they lose a member, but Sung will have to run for the hills. There's nothing much he can do for his teammates. Damwon Gaming do keep one player alive, but that's about it, and just the 1 kill point. So if BTR, yeah, they almost get a squad wipe, but they do suffer a casualty, which they probably wouldn't be too happy about. And looking at the next zone shift, it's nothing too crazy. In fact, I think everyone's going to be happy with this.
I disagree. No? Massively. Yes, it eliminates a good chunk of the water, but it suffers at the wrath of now having still a strong percentage of that mainland in play, a solid percentage of that southwest island in play. The likes of Stalwart, 6-2, well, actually no, 6-2 already land on that northwest island, but even to an extent 4 rivals, to an extent, they committed quite heavily to that northwest island. Now as teams from the east start to move their way in, it eliminates the ability of getting any kind of real strong stranglehold on the mainland. So a lot more pressure is being applied on the teams in the Northwest Island in this phase 2. So to me, it really wasn't the best circle shift for a lot of these teams.
Except if you're DRS.
Yeah, okay, Infinity. Fair enough. But that's like, what,
Jumper.
2-3 out of 14?
Okay, fine. BTR as well. You know, I can come up with a couple more teams. There we go. I was waiting for Genesis Dogma to strike on the Team Secret. Booms, though, he needs
careful.
He will somehow Imperium. He stays alive for the time being. Oh, Fredo, that's not a good nade at all. Wait,
was that? Yeah, that was a nade.
It was a nade. I like how his teammate just kept staring at it. He's like, wait, did he just throw a nade and run away? He's like, yep, run. And they will. Now, Jumper's crawling back to safety. So the smokes have been deployed. So Rez is very much within the realms of possibility here for Secret. But Genesis Dogma, they should be looking to harass them. And
Lovely.
There we go. Brilliant little spot there from Satar. Finds the knock. He's out in the blue as well, and they weren't expecting that angle. And look at them now triangulating onto Team Secret's position, looking for the finish.
It's so good by Genesis Dogma, getting that wraparound. And knock doesn't always mean that you haven't won the team fight. Not confirming a kill doesn't automatically mean you're not going to win the team fight. Use the opportunity to reposition and apply more pressure, and that's a lovely knock by Booms.
Oh, I love this. They're just running out of the blue and they're just wrapping around Team Secret. They thought, all right, they wouldn't be coming in from behind, would they? Yeah, well, they are. They are. Shot. He's got everything to do. Fredo's in the distance. Now, he could potentially try and keep them pinned down or play distraction for them. And he's trying his best. He's going to get them off the Nicel. That's a great work from Fredo. But now, he's all alone. He was trying to protect his teammates there up top, but Shot has been spotted. And Fredo, nade being cooked. They're both cooking the nades. Who's going to lob it first is the question. And it is going to be... Wait, where did he die from?
He died from the off angle by Sitar. It was Sitar on that off angle. He didn't have that much cover on the rock. It was a good attempt by Fredo. In the end, as he died, he did get the knockdown onto Daybot. But overall, a very strong engagement from Genesis Dogma. I do think Team Secret made that classic mistake of when they suffered a knock, they kind of took too long to go for the revive.
Yeah.
So often we see that, not so much in the likes of the PMGC, but we see teams who suffer a knock and they automatically go for the revive. When you go for a revive automatically, you give the opposing team the classic opportunity, like Genesis Dogma took, of repositioning, blanketing around, and putting 3 times the pressure onto your team. At the moment when Genesis Dogma got the initial knock, there was no real pressure by Genesis Dogma onto Team Secret. Team Secret gave Genesis Dogma the time, the space, the movement to push in.
Well, right now though, because of that, Genesis Dogma, 4 kills, all 4 alive, very comfortable. And if you saw the zone, Imperium,
told you, man. I told you.
Everyone in Camp Alpha, near Camp Alpha and Hothin are going to be feeling the pressure now. What do they do?
I saw it coming. When phase 2 popped up and it went over to the east, I was like, this is not looking good. It's going to be incredibly difficult for probably Stalwart more than anybody. 6 to 8 do need to be aware of 4 rivals. Reject have the trifecta that they can play around. But yeah, for MS Chambori and 6 to 8, it's very dicey for them. Infinity wrapping around, making it to boot camp. Honestly, I think boot camp is a good position to go to in this phase 3. Risky to commit yourself to such a big city early on in the game, but I definitely understand with how these circles have been shifting why they would go there.
Yeah, we actually saw DRS in boot camp as a second circle pop, and then maybe they were thinking the same, they had the same thoughts as you did. They have evacuated the premises, and they're going to be heading up a little bit towards the north, right? Playing towards the water. They have Paris Resort and MS Chonburi. This is a position which could be great for them, if not the fact that it is, in the blue. And Jasper, he sees he smokes. He knows there's someone there. Does that someone being the final surviving member of Dam 1 Gaming?
And I like the fact that MS Chonburi are not pushing too quickly to get into the circle down the mountainside, because we saw the circle can shift back up towards the northwest island. Top of the mountain that we saw Damwon Gaming themselves got a very strong result from could come into play as you get through this game. Cryptics on the south bootcamp hill for the time being. Reject from the near trifecta buildings getting a bit of pressure on the BTR. They also have to deal with now Nigma Galaxy pushing in from the side of the circle. As phase 4 pops up, and it does seem like it shrinks down towards that southwest island. Reject are in hot property, but they have to control it, Blair.
And 4 rivals in the water. They're like, oh, well, back again we go. Back again we go. And now we got some STE on STE action. My favorite type of action. And 33Z, you got to move there, bud. You just got standing out in the open. Takes a bullet in the buttocks, but he'll be fine. He's gonna patch himself up. And Strawberry Esports not. Where is Action? Where do I spot him on them? Oh, he's quite far away.
Yeah,
they need to cross the road, and I don't think they're gonna be fancying it, considering STE so very close by.
But DRS, they need to play this coastline position as a team, because they have the opportunity to third party onto 6 to 8 without getting really heavily pushed by the Infinity FaZe Clan. They come in, they get a knock onto 6 to 8. Daoshi is down on his knees.
Tony K, he just got a 2-kit, a double knock there. Of course, Reject from across, able to spot him out and able to get a reply. So a little bit of respite coming in for 628, but 2 members are down. As Nima just spraying blindly, but 3 players look down their barrels onto him in Infinity. And getting helped out a little bit by Genesis Dogma here. They were just sitting ducks, they were just fishing the water, literally. And now with DRS getting suffering a couple of knocks, a couple of casualties from Genesis Dogma, Infinity have been given a little bit of time, a little bit of room to work with.
Now, I know you can't always perfectly time these things, but I think DRS, for the most part, were far too slow to react to this circle. Unless the target out of the vehicle is going to get the knock, is going to get third-partied by Infinity of all people. But for the most part, Genesis Dogman do still remain somewhat in control, and DRS has only Mafia Ninja left standing.
Well, Stalwart Esports as well, just the 2 members right now. Top and Scry having to go against MS Chonburi, who would have that little watchtower to work with. Jasper's going to patch himself in the meantime. Top. Oh, they're getting shot at from the distance by someone else. And meantime, you got to remember, Infinity, even though we saw 2 members inside of the water, they were playing a 2-2 split, right? So the other 2 members, the cavalry, so to speak, have arrived. So Infinity, even though it was looking a little messy for them, great shot from Scry to find Jasper, but NC2 replies back, and they know there's 1 member remaining for Stalwart Esports, and they're looking to make quick work of him, as 4 rivals now feeling the brunt of FaZe having a good angle on them. Stalwart Esports finally will be eliminated, and they've had a quiet day thus far. Imperium, you have to say it. 4 games, how many points? Like 5, 6 points?
Yeah, roughly around that. It definitely has been a quiet day, but hey, look, there's still 2 more games to go, 1 after this one. We'll see if they can turn things around and end the day on a bit of a high note. The circle does shift up north. Down 1, they get taken out. Well, actually, no, Sasung is still alive. My apologies, Sasung is still alive.
God.
BTR, yeah, I know, right? BTR traversing across the water on towards that southwest island, up and towards the northwest. They should be able to see them take down the last player, Down 1 Gaming, MS Chonburi. I said 2 circles ago, it made sense that they were holding on to the west side, and it's favored them in the last 2 circle shifts.
Yeah, FaZe in such a good spot, though, but across the water, it's going to be Infinity rattling off bullets. And I'm looking at the map. I can see Nysel, the last man standing for Genesis Dogma, and I have to say it's looking very unlikely. It's quite a distance away, and even when he does arrive to safety, Infinity going to be lying in wait. He's got to cross the water as well, or the bridge, and it's just looking almost nigh impossible for a Genesis Dogma. But they do have 6 kills. They're going to be happy with it, as FaZe are going to be absolutely wrecked by Infinity. But now, Cryptics trying to take down Enigma Galaxy. 3 members under the bridge, singing a little bit of RHCP perhaps, but it's not looking good at all. And that is going to be their the end for Enigma
right
Galaxy,
now,
apart from the 1 member. Yeah.
Right now, there's 4 teams healing in the blue. Actually, no. Yeah, there's 4 teams healing in the blue. Last member of Infinity, well, Logan's still alive, but realistically, last player of Infinity, last player of Genesis Dogma, last player of
628
Enigma Galaxy, and to an extent the last player of Cryptics.
628, I just took a look at it, and yeah, I saw that 1 little person remaining, that little dot representing a member of 628 disappear as well. Sung is still alive. He's a survivor. He's an actual true survivor.
BTR right now.
This is a good position unless Cryptic spot them.
A couple of good results. They're up to 3 players. The side of the hill is a really hard place to control. Having 1 down on the low ground, I think, is the best of a tricky situation for them. They got to hope that Cryptic Stone kind of angled them from behind, as Marshall's the last player standing. Oh no, just to say that, Cryptics go down.
Why have you said that? Why have you said that? Cryptic's at 3 alive a couple of minutes back. Oh, the timing from Ponzai.
God damn it.
Sarah peeks around the corner. Sarah will be knocked out. And Reject, they have been blessed by the zone seemingly forever. But now, feeling the curse of the bullets from MS Chonburi, who are the only team who seemingly can kind of force them out from that particular compound. Because BTR, they're content just lying out in the open. We look at the next circle shift, and it is going to be favoring MS Chonburi. So yeah, they don't need to flush them out anymore. Reject have to step out of their comfort zone.
technically it goes towards him, but I would argue it puts him under a little bit more risk because there's focus from 2 angles. It's a classic kind of 3-way dance. Yes, the last player down 1 is behind him. He could come into a little bit of a mix, but overall, Reject, MSC, and BTR is between those 3.
Luxy, up. It's gonna be 2 tunnel vision. He's actually gonna spot Highway, and now he's away. He should know that BTR are in that particular direction. Roth will finally fall, running out of heals, leaving it down to the final 5. Make that, well, it could very quickly be a final 4 here. MSC, they continue to pincer onto Reject, but now they have to battle like on 2 fronts. BTR making the presence felt, and they're gonna get a knock here. Onzai also getting taken down by Zuxi from on top, finds a double, and MS Chonburi, they got 2 tunnel vision, and they're getting punished for it. 1 member left standing, it's all on Zasper.
Oh,
with a
no!
brilliant nade, he finds Zuxi, but look at Sung, he's sneaking, he hasn't made a noise yet, and no one knows where he is. For the time being, it's a 1v1v1. Zasper versus Luxy versus Sung, and Sung could just steal this one away from everyone. This could be the great robbery.
BTR, he's not going for the revive. Looks, he wants to push in. He's gonna play a fool. Sasong is standing tall. He's waiting in the grass, looking for the opportunity to strike.
Oh, he's just lying in the grass like a coiled viper. When he does strike, it could be chicken dinner. He could just steal this one away, Imperium. I can't believe that this could happen. The reses will take place. There we go. Oh, we got a 3-way, a 3-split cam. Oh, lovely stuff. Reses has taken place. Now they need to heal each other, heal themselves rather. But a nade getting lobbed and completely ruined their way. And Sasong, he's finally made a move. He's finally going to be coming in from behind. The question is he going to still wait for MSC to go up against BTR and eliminate each other? Slowly but surely, he is so focused on Pop. He knows exactly where he is, and he's gonna creep on down further. Meanwhile, Jasper is snaking, sneaking, crawling his way up top. Zuxy's gonna find the line on him, and Song, he's just waiting. He's just waiting for MSC. Oh, he spots Zuxy! Oh, he's just waiting for them to eliminate each other, and he's finally gonna strike the moment. Zuxy gets a knock. Zuxy's found it, and now it is all on Song to make this happen. And he's came in from the grass, and Song just steals the chicken dinner away from everyone. He had no business doing it, but Damn One Gaming, that was a miracle in Sanhok.
Call the police. We've just seen a robbery right there. Torn from the ashes. The last player, Damn One Gaming, strikes like a cobra in the jungle. The final moments, waits, disciplined to the very end. I've never seen anything like it before, realistically. Like, we've seen it happen in the blue from Team Secret onto Blue Bees last year in the PMGC, but that was so crisp. And yes, say what you want, but that is the beauty of Sanhok, right? The solo player, the snake play comes in. Beautiful game from BTR. Great push on the MS Chambori. But Sung took the chicken dinner away.
He just stole it. Like, that's daylight robbery.
Yeah.
Like, a daylight robbery coming in from Song. And I gotta say, like, firstly, I love how everything just aligned here, Imperium. You said they're a very passive team. Song was passive.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of players in that position, in that situation he was in. He would have just, gone for the fight, gone for, try and just join in and third party's way in. Instead,
yeah,
he was patient, he was passive, and at the very end, when he had to take the fight, would you believe it? They lined up for him.
And I counted them out, right? I said, yeah, okay, he's on his own.
Damn One Gaming counted themselves out.
But, like, dude, I love PUBG Mobile. Like, I love PUBG Mobile. It's such a glorious game. I do have to highlight, though, MS Chambori off the back of a fantastic win in Game 3. Sorry, in Game 2, my apologies, in Miramar. A really strong result in second. I'm really liking how MS Chambori are developing.
Well, I'm enjoying Damn One Gaming winning something. That was incredible. I'm still trying to gather my jaw from that. Jason, take it away. That was incredible.
There we go. Jaw has been brought back. I don't know what I was doing now. I was trying to be funny. Didn't work out. But what a play. Speaking of working out, Sung, how does that work for him? Just patiently waiting, as you're saying, guys. We need to have a popcorn emoji to just sit here and have him popping up the entire time. I mean, what a fantastic finish out of them. 3 eliminations, but it doesn't matter. They get the victory. They get 18 points. Fantastic finish. Probably one of the best finishes we've had so far here in PMGC.
I think Sung thought he was a viewer on YouTube for a second. He's like, wait, I'm actually playing. Well, actually, I can start shooting people. I can actually get a win here. So you got involved at the end. It was so clutch, Tarzan. We were on the edge of our seats thinking, wait, no one knows that he's there. No one is literally looking in their position. Everyone is focused on MS Chonburi. And because of that, he could just sneak in the perfect angle, wait for the fight to break out between BTR and also MSC, and just snatch it away. And I think even BTR, from how they were playing, they thought there was a heal-off at the end, but they didn't know. He was actually in a circle, and he just snatched it away.
You know what? Like, the level of patience that man has shown is incredible. You think about the just get all the PUBG players right there, PUBG Mobile players, 99.9% will have shot something before that point. Now, he waited, using the ridgeline to crawl as well, and he's only shot half of his last magazine to take the win. He did not play that to survive or take another kill or two. He played that to win. That is insane, the amount of patience and control.
Got a little bit lucky too, because I believe like the last 2 players kind of lined up for him as well, so was able really easy to just knock them both down instead of having to go from like the left side of the screen to the other side. But we can see here our Super Weekend's rankings just from this Super Weekend. This does not include the first week, so no, Genesis Dogma not currently in first place overall, but Bigatron 50 points on the day. Where has this team been? Where has Zaxi been? We saw him as the MVP now 2 matches in a row. Well, not in a row, but 2 matches in today.
Well, to answer that, they were not in the first Super Weekend, but they're able to make up for it. So this is the type of playstyle we wanted to see from BTR, to try and get a little bit more to the late game, feel a little bit more confident, which we are seeing. So I'm definitely happy to see that happening right now. But Jason, Dong Jiao Bao, I mean...
Max, in your opinion, since Cars is not here, do you think Dong Jiao Bao are a 16th place team?
No, Jason, I do not think Zhongjia are a 16th place team, but they're not showing great results, unfortunately, today, which is really odd because they're still going for these big splits and they keep losing players one by one, and then they're losing their opportunity to get to the late game and to potentially get a win super early on in the game. And if you don't adjust that at any time soon, I mean, they might be one of the few teams to actually have a chance of getting kicked out of that top 16 for the league finals. So Zhongjia Bao, we need to see some big changes because it's just been the same thing over and over and over again, and teams, unfortunately, as we saw, are learning, are improving, and it's just not working anymore for TJB.
Yeah, not really seeming to be too much of a threat in the lobby for the other teams out there. But you know what? There's still, well, the rest of today. That was obviously 2 more days to come up in this Super Weekend and another Super Weekend to come if TJB can qualify yet again. Before we do head to a break, though, as you see, our next match is coming up in the final match of the day over on Erangel. We'll remind you guys again about the player fan favorite voting going on at the moment. You can vote for favorite teams and players within the Esports Center. And also, while you're in the Esports Center, there's not only one way you can win prizes, you can win 2 ways. Or you can win. You have 2 ways of getting permanent items. You can do it through the fan favorite vote, but also you can do it through the treasure box. If you guys are watching the Esports Center over on YouTube, you can unlock a permanent item for you and yourself. And I. Well, I guess I technically can do that myself if I go watch. And also, we also have a community tournament, the PMGC community tournament with Game TV. It's open to everyone out there. Yeah, even you. Max, no, not to you, because well, I don't want everyone to see what we saw at PMCL with you. Well, not even getting to PMCL. Please go register though to play, and you guys get PMGC tokens and a Google Play gift card potentially for yourself. So like I mentioned before, we got Erangel coming up next as the final match, and honestly, I'm really happy to see how things have played out today. I am really happy to see that FaZe Clan, Bigatron, Damwon have all come into this one prepared and ready to go. I didn't want to see the continuation of them just barely getting by like we saw in the second week of league play. Yeah. It's been a fantastic turnaround for them.
Yeah, these are 2 teams, I would say, that it's not even I would say, it's just clearly they needed a good result to try and catch up to the likes of, for example, Cryptix or even Enigma Galaxy, and they've been doing so. Yes. And it's just the first day. The fact that they got already so many points in 1 day alone is great. If they can do that also in the next 2 days, I mean, they're already going to be in that top 16 super comfortably, I would say here, Jason.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head to a break while we get things ready to go here for our last match of the day, so don't go anywhere.
first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
And hopefully you can see yourself getting a chicken dinner if you pick up one of those bad boys, the One Plus, which is the official sponsor here at PMGC, with its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers. The OnePlus 9 Pro, your best shot to climb the leaderboards and potentially pull off the play we saw Sung do in that last match, taking the chicken dinner for themselves. Honestly, that's going to go down in PMGC history. But the funniest thing for me is, last year at PMGC, Ryzen did something a bit similar, though it was on Miramar. So it's kind of a sweet justice to see it happen to them.
Yeah, history tends to repeat itself. Oh, sorry.
Max, we want to talk about Ryzen because I almost forgotten about this very key point. We've talked about changes, you know, the past week in rosters. When he wasn't a starter of today, they kind of started popping off. It makes me feel a little bit worried for them. Is what you said, right, Max? You said, I can't imagine watching BTR without Suxy, Luxy, and Ryzen, but he's not been there, and they are doing fine.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to have those big changes to make things stick, potentially. And I really like, actually, how Liquid has been serving as the main scout for the team throughout today, especially that first game on Erangel. I was very impressed with how BTR approached it. So, I mean, if it works out and guys get a really good result, maybe, even though it feels weird to say this, but maybe you want to try and keep Liquid in, and maybe you want to also try and keep Yuhai in, because there's clearly been some positive impacts brought by those two players in particular to the team. So, yeah, it's unfortunate to say that, right? Because you know Ryzen has been doing so much for the scene and for BTR as a whole throughout the years now, but things change, and sometimes you just got to go with those massive changes, and if it works out, then you got to keep on going with it.
I'm waiting to see the Terminator come back into these lobbies. It's been coined. It's been a while, I feel like, since we've been able to see him be that kind of formidable force. But again, we're seeing Zuxi step up. So, you know, if we talk about the depth of BTR, they have phenomenal players, like some of the best players in the world. But it's great to see that we can see some other people step up when they need to, considering how things have been now turning finally in favor of BTR with their 50 points. But we do have Erangel coming up. You can see it's about 1:20 away before we do hop into this final match. And, you know, overall, really quickly, gentlemen, while we have a little bit of time, what's been your big takeaway from today so far?
I think it would be weird to not say Enigma Galaxy here, Jason. Sure, there was that Miramar game where I think there was a little bit of hesitancy, and I think they could have potentially even gone even further, but they still got himself a third place. Here, after that, they got himself in round 3 on the Erangel, where first place was 15 elimination. Enigma Galaxy has had a drastic change in their mentality that I think that they needed to make sure they were not that moving goalpost anymore towards that bottom side of the top 16.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see it. Even though FaZe and BTR has had a relatively good day today, they are not letting themselves go down too easily, which I think is a great change from Enigma Galaxy. And if they can build some consistency around that, I think that they can make sure they can qualify in the top 16 here.
As for me, I know there's a lot of teams that we want to see them perform well, and they have. But Starwood Esports, not one of them. They are kind of there, but it's not enough. We know they can do a lot more. And so when we look forward as well, it's going to be quite interesting, because we know on the Southern Island we've got very interesting dynamics on the two bridges. 628 say, we are going to guard the Western one, and then Infinity said, okay, so we have to move to the East. And Starwood suddenly can't sleep around that cross. So that is something that I'm going to be looking out for if it allows them to drop that way.
Okay, well, let's head into that final match. The final match here of our first ever second Super Weekend is going to be brought to you by none other than Bleh and Imperium.
Thank you again, Jason. Yeah, final game of the day. I'm still recovering from that Sanhok ending Imperium. Like, damn one gaming. What a game from Sasong.
Look, I had a bit of a personal issue over the last couple of days where my bicycle got stolen, and the Irish police were extremely helpful in me getting it back. I got it back. I think I should recruit them to try and investigate the robbery that we saw in the last game. Insane, absolutely insane. Beautiful, glorious, defining. You take it, but man, what a robbery! What a robbery!
I mean, you could also call your police to find out where TJB are, because they seem to have gone missing.
Yeah, that's also a fair point to bring on board. Looking at the numbers, they're really overall looking in a very dangerous position. In the first Super Weekend, they only got 74 points, which is an average of roughly 4.95 points per game. In today's first 4 games, they've only scored 5 points.
Holy hell.
When you look at FaZe, BTR, even Down One Gaming, right? Those 3 teams looking to kind of catch up on the likes of Nigma, TJB, and of course the teams that didn't qualify for the second Super Weekend. You know, Maximum was asked a question of, does he think Tongja Bao are 16th place team? For me right now, I think they're a 17th place team with how they're playing.
Jesus.
They need to step it up.
Okay, all right, Imperium. You're feeling a little feisty today, clearly. Speaking of feisty, that zone is extremely feisty and tasty. It is completely encircling the military island, and at least based on mathematical odds, I'm not John, but I'm just gonna try and give it a crack. It should be a military island final circle.
In 19 Erangel games we've had so far in the PMGC, off the top of my head, with my quick math, this is the 20th. We have not seen a military island circle finish.
We have not, sir.
So I'm down for it. I'm ready for it. So are Genesis Dogma and MS Chambari as they all scramble to make it across the bridge. But who should be technically waiting in the wings? Stalwart. But this is only the first 3 minutes, so I understand why they wouldn't be ready for a fight. Satar is going to stop forward. He gets a lovely shot, knocks down Pop.
Pop is down, is going to drop down as well, trying not to get eliminated, but yep. Meanwhile, DRS, oh, wait, yes, there we go, shot, oh, 1 HP, 1 HP, 1 HP, how is he standing? But Nemo will hunt him down. It's all drive-bys, it's all very, very early skirmishes breaking out here, primarily because of the zone, right? Some teams are looking to get ahead of everyone else, as Genesis Dogma.
Oh no, what are you doing, Genesis Dogma?
But they have no idea. The Storm East was okay, but action out in the open, he gets knocked down. Pika with a quick reply onto Booms, and Sataris, he is getting the hell out of there. 2 knocks taking place on a Genesis Dogma. Why? I guess they weren't expecting Stalwart to come out of Novo.
Come on! You're 3.5 minutes in. They probably would have in some way heard the shots that Genesis Dogma put onto MS Chambori. You know, you take the kill, you turn right at the bridge, and you look to scout first. Much safer on the right-hand side of the bridge, instead of going towards Nova or going towards a radio tower. A little bit needless from Genesis Dogma. Call it whatever you want, but a big mistake off the back of what has been overall a fairly strong day for Genesis Dogma.
Yeah, I feel like they were only seeing red, because you could see them very, very tunnel vision or chasing, hunting down Miss John Buri, right? So they were only seeing red, they got tunnel visioned, and unfortunately, you know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're so focused on getting that particular elimination, trying to get that squad wipe, you know, getting those tasty 4 points to your name early in the game, and you kind of forget that, you know, there's a bunch of Mongolians who like dropping nearby, you know, or a team who, yes, they've had a quiet day thus far, but they're a team you don't want to just walk into when they're going to be lying in wait, when you're unprepared, right? So, true. The 2 surviving members of Genesis Dogma, though, they might be heading straight from the frying pan into the fire, because Infinity have spotted them out.
I like how Infinity have themselves spread out across the military island. 3 are still in the base, but Newsy is on that south side. Because often with this kind of circle, you can see teams opt to try and use the south side of the island to get a bit of a cleaner rotation into that position, rather than relying on the bridges or relying on even holding on to the mainland. So having Newsy there to provide a little bit of early scouting. Yes, the risk is that he gets taken out, but I do appreciate it. BTR going for a direct rotation, short and sweet, from the coastal line of the mainland over to the military island. Considering they drop and farm, it's calculated, it's clean, it's straight to the point. They're not wasting any time, and that has been realistically BTR's playstyle across the whole of today. It's been very quick on the rotations, a lot more teamwork involved in how they're moving around, and they've been very, very successful in those games. So I like to see that transitioning, even if it's over just a simple rotation.
I love the fact you brought this up, and that's something I noticed as well. But I'm glad you brought it up that we can talk a little bit more about, because as you said, they seem to have the game plan, right? They're like, this is what our plan's going to be, and we're going to stick to it. But even when they do face a couple of hurdles, maybe a couple of speed bumps on the way, they're able to adapt fast. And sure, they haven't been able to hit the highs of some of the teams we've seen thus far in the tournament, but they have looked very, very good, a much better team. Daoshi is the recon guy, I guess, because he is by his lonesome. And TJB, Tang Jiabao. It's,
I like it.
I mean, I like it as well. I was just wondering what they were up to. Ah, there we go. Everyone's on, and off they go to Nova Revnoy, where Stalwart are back again. I don't think they're going to go to Nova. They should be going further down south.
I have to say, despite the couple of frantic early game interactions, I'm very, very happy with how a lot of these teams are rotating. And this is why I'll always say to upcoming teams and players that want to play competitively, or, you know, putting their first moves competitively, watch the global stage, watch the bigger tournaments, because this does not happen enough in kind of, you know, PMCOs, PMPLs, where
in the local
if you
leagues,
see that kind of so, you know, very much learnable in this kind of situation. Now 628, of course, Daoshi, who is the recon man, has had to disengage away. The one thing I would say about that rotation is it was automatically far too close to the edge of the circle, to the edge of the mainland. There's no need for him to crevice that close. He could have gone much further away from the land and out of sight of reject, but in the end, he isn't taken down, and information has been provided to the rest of his team.
Yeah, Reject's position really, really powerful on those cliffs and protruding rocks. So definitely information conveyed. You can see STE now starting to make their way using boats. I find it interesting because of how paranoid everyone are right now, Imperium. No one's crossing the bridge, but there's literally not a single soul on either of the two bridges.
I love Down One Gaming's, or Down One Kia, should I say specifically, position on that coastline, and they're able to catch out one of the Enigma players for the time being. They've been here for the last 2 to 3 minutes. They got here early. They've held onto the coastline. It sets them up for phase number 2, because as much as we've threaded, you know, on towards a military island finish, it's not guaranteed.
It isn't. It isn't. 100% not guaranteed, but we're going to be finding out right now if it is going to be a northern shift. Oh boy, there are going to be a lot of bodies in the water, but it looks like it is indeed going to be a military island finish. There was a chance there for a couple of seconds where it could have gone up north, but things are heading down south. Right now, Enigma Galaxy, a bit of a pickle. Hamodi is isolated. There's not much he can do. The moment he drops out of the window, they should be waiting for him. They should be waiting for him, but no, he picks the right side, and he's got an angle.
Oh, lovely knock.
Just a fadeaway shot onto Sasung, the hero of Sanhok. Now he's got to go up against the other two members. It's a 1v2, Uni and Forest. This is doable, because look at the distance. His teammates are there to provide any covering fire, and here they come. Here comes the cavalry. There was a window of opportunity for Damwon to take down Hamodi, but now with the cavalry arriving, Enigma Galaxy, they've come alive. 2 knocks now, and Freak pushing in, dodging the HEs as well. And Damwon Gaming, they've let this one slip.
It was perfect by Hamodi, like absolutely perfect by him, because he knew when he stepped out of the building, he had the support of his teammates. Now, Lord does knock himself down, but Juni's being taken out. Fabian is left on his own. So really well played by Enigma Galaxy, perfectly turned around in their favor, and indeed, definitely Down One's fault. And it kind of sums up overall Down One's play style of just being a little bit too passive, a little bit too slow to take advantage of an opportunity, and now they're at the bottom of the barrel looking at another early game finish if Enigma Galaxy can find Fabian.
They're one player alive. You know what that means? Another chicken.
Oh my lord, I love how you shut me down. Come on, this isn't Sanhok, man. This isn't Sanhok.
Listen, all I'm saying is there's a lot of water. There's some bridges. Anything could happen. I don't know.
Okay.
They got the res?
Wow.
Dude, Song just crawled his way the entire distance, and Enigma Galaxy probably wondering, wait,
oh my
where did he
god!
go? And there you go, Fabian strikes, Hamoni taken down, and now it's even Stevens. A 2 versus 2, Enigma Galaxy, a bit of a mistake there. They got a little too lackadaisical in their approach as Tony K comes charging in and immediately gets put down on his knees.
Lovely pre-nade by 628. They're used to that playing in the PL where teams are very able to push on forward to go for a crash. MR5 is now breached into the building. Lovely low ball molly by 33Z. Doesn't quite connect, but that's going to connect on the core by knockdown. MR5 is in the front line, but once again, BR11 is in the back line. MR5 gets knocked down, and that's a third knock against FaZe.
FaZe down seems to be the call here. This Beer 11 will have to run for the hill. 628 doing a great job. It almost felt like it was just Sunan and 33Z. Just the two of them completely just brushing aside the danger being presented by FaZe. In the meantime, if you kept your eyes on a kill feed, Damn One Gaming, 2v2, it looked possible, but one well-placed nade from Freak, I do believe it was, able to take them down. So we say goodbye to the South Koreans. Yeah.
If you notice, the leaderboard on the right-hand side, that is the overall standings, including both Super Weekends. This is why I highlighted and was a little bit harsh onto Tongja about, because currently right now, Enigma Galaxy are ahead of them by a good nearly 20 points. That is really not good for Tongja about heading into day 2. I know there's still 10 more games to go into this Super Weekend, but really, the message has to be conveyed. They are not looking like a strong team right now.
That's just so very rough. Tongja about. But yeah, I think that's a very good point to raise, especially because Enigma Galaxy were the worst team in the first Super Weekend, right? By far. Okay, Reject could be walking into a trap. Genesis Dogma. Remember, they kind of blindly rushed in towards the Nova Bridge and got punished by Stalwart Esports for that. So these two members have been lying quiet, Satar and Isol. Duello. Little does he know, death is nearby. Death is nearby, death is above. And somehow, you might just escape unscathed. Okay.
Of course, death to all but metal as well. You'll be familiar with that one as the phase 3 did pop up. It shifted up north. A little bit of water in play. Yeah, Rico Infinity DRS on the mainland part of that eastern bridge. It does open the door for the western bridge rotation, as you saw from the likes of 628, possibly Cryptics, and the last two players, Enigma Galaxy. However, I can see them clashing against each other. Reject did not get caught out by Genesis Dogma. They actually repositioned to do an arguably a much better compound, because I don't really like where Genesis Dogma are for a team to hold on to. I think it's a little bit too much of a pinch in this kind of circle, because you have the radio tower position which a team can counter you from. So I appreciate that from Reject on the reposition.
Well, let's see if it does help them out later on. Team Secret just taking over Novo, which was very recently abandoned by Stalwart Esports. So that could actually catch the Mongolians off guard, right? They might be assuming that they're behind. They don't have to worry about the backlines, but Team Secret coming in from behind could completely ruin their day. That being said, Top is the one who's most susceptible. He's the only one by the cliffside. The remaining team is, oh no, they're falling back.
Has he gotten information? I think he got information.
Yeah,
because that coastline
it,
position,
right?
Yeah, a couple of angles of that coastline position does give information onto Nova, and I think it's Kid who's on the corner, and Scry comes in, gets a knock. I understand where your concerns were coming from. That's great reaction from Starlight and great positioning to cover behind them.
Yeah, I didn't even know Scry's position there, but yeah, I the top of Scry spotted them, and they're like, oh well, we're not gonna fall for that one, Team Secret. And unfortunately for Secret right now, they have a decision to make. They go up, they push on ahead. Firstly, they're in blue. They're taking damage. So they need to make a decision real quickly here, or else they're going to get completely wrecked by the zone or by Stalwart Esports. Not a good position to be in. And speaking of not being in a great position, 628, these two members here, Yu Yang, Suyan and Yu Yang, going to be in this particular compound. And unfortunately, for them to cross on over and regroup with the teammates, they have to cross this kind of open hill. So yeah, they're going to utilize the vehicle, which is a smart ploy, and just pray that Cryptix's shots aren't going to quite land on their car.
This is why I really liked Reject's reposition, because on that circle shifting down southwest, it's allowed them a lot more variability to move out and go for a bit more of a controlling position in near the center of the circle on that east side. It's high ground. It gives them good cover. MS Chonburi are in a bit of a pickle. Stalwart wrapping around them. Tong Jiao Bao waiting in the wings. 4 rivals as well, gone further ahead, and HR takes a couple of shots off a lovely nade being cooked up. That could connect on 2 of the 4 rivals members.
Oh, look at the amount of nades getting lobbed in by Tang Xiaopao and 4 rivals. I gotta say, this looks like the valley of death for them. They're getting surrounded on all sides. They don't have the high ground advantage either, and the TJB are aware of this, and they can make quick work. You can deploy all the smokes you want, but those nades and bullets don't care about the smoke. Smokes don't block bullets or the incendiaries or the nades. And here we go. Appy trying his best to take a fight, but he'll be knocked straight down. And I gotta say, 4 rivals, they look like they're done here.
And this is even overall as a 3-person team for Tong Jiabao's attacker pushes on. Pembor is the last player standing. Manhunt is being put under pressure by him. The blue zone is encapsulating. That's going to be a knock. Attacker is there, and that's why I said it's more of a 3-man push from Tong Jiabao, because Long Z took so long to join up. And now it's going to be the last player. Can't get a heal off, and I think that's the end of 4 rivals.
Oh, that looks a little scary, because if a number gets the knock on the attacker, there's nothing Longs can do. There's absolutely nothing he can do. So Tang Jiabao, a little unfortunate to lose Manhand, but for 4 rivals, you got to feel for them, right? They were in that valley, and when you're in that spot surrounded by 3 members, even if you have the 1-player advantage in that particular battle, it was never going to be good enough. Now BTR going up against Cryptix, who have somehow managed to regroup, and they're not going to be going up against the SCA side. Let's see how they're going to contend with this. Cryptix, they've had the ups and downs, mostly downs, but this is a good opportunity. All 4 alive, yet to get a kill. Never mind. The nades are going to just completely obliterate Lazy Boy and El Chapo, and Luxy will have no trouble confirming at least 1 kill.
And this is really good for Big E-Tron, because they also have to think about the threat of Reject from behind. Reject aren't looking for the time being to take advantage of that opportunity. They're allowing BTR to play their own game and take that isolated fight. MS Chonburi are in the dead center of the circle as we're making our way into phase number 5. And Reject are going up against Rico.
Rico Infinity against the Japanese side. This nade, if he aligns it perfectly, could have potentially found Divine or Sarah, but they're gonna enter the little house to have a cover. See zone number 5 in the top right corner, and finally Reject and MS Chonburi will have to make a move. It's gonna be on the northern side of the military base, and Infinity, they've been calling it home for the entirety of this game. So they're in a good spot here, because all these teams who will eventually have to head on down south, I'm just gonna throw out a random number. I think only 30% of them are gonna survive.
It's a fair number. I think even though it's a little bit random, I think it's a little bit accurate, as MS Chonburi now start to move on to BTR, knock initially onto Liquid. Luxy is going to get taken out as well. Still the 2 other members. That's going to be a run over for UI. He's going to feel the brunt of Jasper. The IGL takes a couple of shots, and UI has to reposition.
You need to res, Jasper. You need to res one of your teammates in the last man standing. And he is going to arrive in time. This is complete pandemonium as everyone's taking shots at everyone. And Satar, he's still healing out in the open. Fidan for Rico Infinity, the last man surviving, I do believe, and is going to come charging on in his vehicle, trying to duel against Duello and Reiji. And Reiji, I don't think he's aware of the player right above him. Fidani could just strike and ruin their day. Duel is very low, but if he's not careful, he's going to get shot from on top. He's going to patch himself up, though, in the blue in the meantime. And FaZe, you yelled out to him, Bureau 11, somehow making his way into the zone in that car, and he's untouched. The guy seems to be just invincible at this point.
He picked up a kill onto UI. That's where I kind of shouted his name out, and I thought he was going to come in and get the full squad wipe on the BTR, but he was like, look, I'll take the kill, I'll move away, I'll let MS Chonburi deal with that one. Genesis Dogma, the last player up, get to knock a kill, but goes down in the end. They are eliminated with 4 eliminations.
He gets the kill, though. He gets the kill. And now Zuxi, 1 versus 3. His aim is good and true, but unfortunately runs out of bullets, runs out of time, and runs out of blood in his body. He will fall. And now we're down. Final 8. 8 teams, but only 19 alive. And Infinity, thus far, haven't had... I don't think they've even rattled off a single bullet yet, Imperium.
Nope. Nope, 0 kills. They've gone untouched. They've had a quiet game. A deserved dropping in Military Island. They have now joined up together in the compound as in the center circle as we're about to see phase 6. At one point, by the way, as Beer 11 picks up the final elimination to reject, MS Chambori at one point we're down to 1 player and they have somewhat of a full squad, although Beer 11 picks up another one before he gets taken out.
I'm actually doing a little bit of a clap for Beer 11. What a legend, dude. Like, the guy survived for seemingly forever and even getting a couple of kills to his name. So, FaZe will be eliminated. They do get 3 points, though. Now the final 6. Now the 14 players. Senkai out in the open will be made quick work off by 33Z. And STE, 628, not Stalwart, 628, the Chinese side, could be the team who will have to take down Infinity. Because Infinity, they're watching, they're listening to whatever is transpiring around them, and even the zone is favoring them. So everything is going their way. But 628 could somehow ruin their day.
Bit of a spread from 6 to 8. Presumptuous as they wrap around on the north side. The other Chinese team in this super weekend, Tongjiao Bao. They have 6 kills so far, still with 2 players left up. I said they had been looking like a 17th place team. Well, this game is, of course, a lot better for them. Nigma, Gags, we have to highlight them. They've had 7 kills so far. Sorry, 6 should I say. Also with 2 players left up. They wiped out Down One Gaming in the end. They moved in from the west side. Has held things down inside military base until now.
Was it Max or was it Professor Tarzan that said Tang Bao is a 16
Max.
team? Was it Max? Well, Max, how do you like them
Well,
apples
Caleris first, then Max.
Fine, how do you all like them apples now? Because they're guaranteed a top 4. Attacker and Longs, but they just might be arriving straight to their doom. A Molotov, they're taking so much damage as well. Crossing from Nigma Galaxy of all teams. Freak and Lord, you can never count them out, it looks like. And Longs,
no way.
It looks like his days are also looking numbered. And there you have it. Uzi with the nade. And we say we kiss goodbye. Long kiss goodnight to Tang Bao. Final 3, 4v4 v2. The MENA team, the Chinese side, and a team from Southeast Asia.
I love this finish right now. 6-2-8 have a 2-2 split, which is very strong. Holds a couple of angles onto the Infinity. Nigma have the walls of the military base to their advantage, also having a good angle onto Infinity. Despite the Infinity having the comfort of the buildings, because there's so much pressure around them, which I'm pretty sure they're aware of, they can't really stay in one spot. They can't really rest inside these buildings. They, you know, because every single like angle is to an extent under pressure. So this is going to be challenging. But luckily for them, the circle stays in their direction on phase 7. It also stays towards Nigma. 6-8, they're now the ones that need to reposition. They have to make their way into the circle.
And they need to find a way to neutralize Nigma Galaxy, if not with their weapons, but at least try and just, you know, obscure the vision perhaps. A few smokes being deployed. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Are they going to push
smokes
in?
To obscure Tunny's position. It's going to throw a preemptive nade as Mela is going to find Yu Yang and Sunan will get knocked as well. And this is a lovely opportunity for Nigma Galaxy to strike. You can see Lord getting on top of the watchtower, trying to steal a couple of kills away. But Infinity, they're going to come being pushed at by 6-8.
Oh my God!
Absolutely decimated by Infinity. You come at the king, you best not miss. But that is going to be Nigma Galaxy now, a guaranteed second place. And freaking Lord, it's looking unlikely, but it's not impossible.
It's 2v4. I like the fact that Freak is across the road. It kind of gives a little bit more area to move around, a little bit more pressure. Unfortunately for them, Infinity suffered 0 knocks, 0 losses in that fight against 6-8. And they have Newsy on the roof.
you know the crazy part is they had 0 kills and 0 bullets fired, and now they have 7 kills and almost a guaranteed chicken dinner. Freak will fall, make that 8, and Lord, the last man remaining, Mela. Oh, nice name there. He should get the knock.
Oh my God!
Get the knock. Incredible cover fire being provided by Infinity, and that is gonna be a chicken dinner for Infinity, who were. I guess they took a nice, happy nap, you know, they woke up, they had some breakfast, and they're like, all right, zone 5, time to take the fight. They get 10 kills and a chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Business as usual.
And it's like, they're generally a quiet day. Nothing really too amazing coming into this game. They had a total of 30 points across 4 games. By no means like a bad day, but compared to what we'd seen in the league play and last week's Super Weekend, it was just okay. It was decent. And then the final game, they do nothing for the first 20 minutes. Like you highlighted, 0 kills, and then suddenly they had 7 just like that. And it's what makes them so dangerous, right? Because they understand that there's no need for us to move too far away from our drop spot. Yes, we do have to be aware. That's why they had a 4-man spread up until, I believe, phase 4. But it wasn't outside the realms of the base, right? It wasn't too deep. Because if you cover the hills outside of the base as a split, that's where it becomes risky on phase kind of 3 especially. Yeah. But they stayed quiet, they waited, and then they struck. And it's such a good finish from the Infinity.
Such a good game as well. We saw some pretty crazy vehicular action breaking out earlier, you know, with all the teams trying to go for a mad dash down south towards the military island. A team I want to highlight, look, it's very easy to highlight some of the big dogs like Infinity, but you know, we have been critical for a couple of these other teams. And Enigma Galaxy, if you look at their performance in Super Weekend number 1,
turnaround,
you compare it to just the one day today, it has been an incredible turnaround.
Big turnaround, and that takes a lot. We all knew they were capable of better. I said after the last day of the first Super Weekend, I put up a dedicated Instagram story. Follow me on Instagram, EVT_Imperium. But I said, look, I know Enigma Galaxy are capable of so much better. And I'm really glad they proved that. Such a strong game. And although they didn't end with the chicken dinner, they can be very, very proud of the massive turnaround they've had.
Oh, absolutely. They should be proud. And, well, giving up, I think we're done for the day here. But, of course, we have the wonderful gentleman on the desk to break everything down. But, Max, Tang Bao, thoughts now?
They are not a 16th place team. That's all I can say. Like, hell yeah, they get themselves a nice top 4 position at the end. They got a little high ground position. Feels good. I like it. Hell yeah. Thanks, Blair.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, Tang Bao. I think Kalaris, when he gets back in the show, is going to be talking a lot about that as well. But the Infinity, as we saw, closing things out. But for me, the real story, and I'm sorry, guys, for all the fans of the Infinity out there, it isn't them. It's Enigma Galaxy bouncing back so well today. I really can't understate, like, how much, or overstate, how much of a good job they did today, considering their performances before. And we had a lot of questions, you know, going to Super Weekend too. Will it be the footballer's curse, doing well in league play and then falling short when it comes into Super Weekend? But they have bounced back with flying colors, and it seems like they've been able to finally fix the problems they were having before.
They almost got as many points as they had in the entire first Super Weekend out of, what was it, 2 games back-to-back throughout today. So they are definitely back on track in terms of how they've been playing these games. They're a little bit more confident when it comes to getting to those late game stages. And Tarzan, we say every time what would be the best play for Enigma to do. Here it was to get access to that wall side outside of Millie, and they just got there super early. They have a way better idea of what's going to allow them to get extra placement points, extra elimination points also, and they just go for the right play a lot of the time in these games. I'm super impressed.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many things that could have gone wrong, to be fair, and there was one game, I mean, that was game 3, I believe, that was really, really, from start to finish, very impressive from them, but there was some luck involved. But here's the thing, I started the day talking about the flow state. I know what this team can do watching PMP Arabia. I just hope that the boost from today can bring them into that state more frequently, so that we can see the true colors of the team. But of course, on the second page, there's a lot of teams that we didn't expect them to be there, Jason.
Yeah, and I love to see that, though. That's, like, for me, one of the most important parts and aspects of PMGC is you're not seeing necessarily consistently the same teams always in the top. You don't have some teams dominating the entire lobby time in and time out, except maybe if you're in the Infinity and how they played over these last 2 weeks. But we're seeing, like, any day, any match, any week, it could be different teams at the top. And I think that's a true testament as well to the amount of work these teams are putting in behind the scenes when they're not playing, making sure to fix things going into the next days, into the next weeks. And we're seeing it work. I mean, look at Enigma Galaxy here as Lord taking the MVP with his 933 damage and the 6 eliminations on top. It's no longer just Rauf on the team that's able to be the standout player.
Yeah, even Freak has been doing great, but Lord, especially in these games, is really good when it comes to controlling the pacing of how the game's going to end. He had that little watchtower, which was literally the perfect position. If not for the really good usage of utility, especially grenades and mollies that were thrown away by Infinity, Lord could have got away with literally murder in that game and potentially able to get himself a few extra frags here and there. So really good attempt as we're going to have his head-to-head with Nuzi, which we know, Tarzan, you thought he was going to be MVP and he's still on track to potentially be in the MVP of this tournament, but Nuzi on that rooftop position just made it so easy for them to confirm that game.
It's the small things, right? Like when you have a compound and they played it very, very well. Sometimes under that pressure, you don't think about the roof, you don't think about a decent split, but they made it work. And to add on to what Kalara said 2 days ago as well, we thought about bringing Nia in instead of Nuzi might cause a little bit of issue, right? Coming back in, would he need to re-warm up and all that stuff? Seems like we've got our answers, boys. He's fine. He is just the way he was, and he's still fragging out.
Yeah, I could have said it better myself. And to be able to consistently do that, and more importantly, do that at such a crucial time, is very important for any team out there. As we can now see our standings here from just the Super Weekend. So just from today so far, we have Enigma Galaxy leading the way at 67 points. Now Bigatron at 53. Bigatron were already behind 47 points going into the Super Weekend, and technically now they're falling even further behind Enigma Galaxy.
Yeah.
But again, that goalpost will potentially move against them. It might move in their favor depending on how the days go. The important part is chase those teams who are not in the Super Weekend. Try to catch up to them and surpass them. Because if they don't get in next Super Weekend and you do, it's much easier for you to qualify in top 16 to get into those finals.
Did I just see 37 eliminations coming out from Genesis Dogma? What? Wow. I mean, these guys are fragging out big time today. I'm really happy to see that come to fruition. But onto the second page throughout this first day, we're still not seeing stars. Unfortunately, the Star Wars that we expected after the start of that first week, right? They're struggling in the Super Weekend itself. They're still safe when it comes to making in that top 16 as of right now, but it's still not playing on par to what we initially expected.
It's so hard to pin down what's gone wrong. It's almost like they need to look at a lot of the macros and see when the circle's not on their side, how can they make a game-winning play? I feel like they're a little bit conservative like this time around, but yes.
I'm sorry, we gotta jump in on this because well, now it's gone. 4 rivals, second place, 0 chicken dinners. I wanted to bring that up, but as quick as I could, I'm glad you did. It disappeared.
Yeah. Before that last game, they were both on 185 points to 4 rivals and the Infinity. So if not for that last chicken dinner from Infinity, 4 rivals could have potentially been first place without a single win. How insane is that? I really got to express how mental of performance it is on 4 rivals right now. Intrigued to see if that's going to be changing so far. But in terms of elimination so far, Noose got a total of 33. And was Dable actually from Genesis Dogma. I mean, out of the 37 they got today, and throughout the entirety of the 98 eliminations picked up so far by Genesis Dogma, they are currently tied with top eliminations total with the Infinity in the Super Weekend. 33 from Daybot and 31 from Satama, and these two guys are fragging out big time. I'm loving it how these two are just working so well together when they have to go for those big breaches towards the end of the games. They're just amazing as an individual duo to breach those compounds.
Mm-hmm. It's actually quite magical. I want to say I'm quite fond of the way that Genesis Dogma have been playing in this tournament. It's just so hard to catch. They're so unapologetic to make changes from drops in making cheeky plays. It's a very colorful way to play this game, and I've been taking it so far, and after all, it's working as well. You can see from the stats. So I can't complain. I just can't wait to see what other cards they're going to pull, and that might be the magic from Satar.
Well, you know, the magic from Satar, I love how you said that. It's still a great video to see him, and I really want to bring him to one of my birthday parties one day. Maybe not my birthday parties. Maybe when I have kids one day, I can bring him to my birthday parties, do some magic for all of them. But ladies and gentlemen, you guys at home, while we are enjoying the show, enjoying watching all the matches, you should enjoy the chance you can get some permanent items with the fan favorite vote. Just go into the esports center and vote for your favorite team, your favorite players, and you get a chance to unlock a various pink level permanent items for you and your account, as well as the treasure box. You guys can watch in the esports center and on YouTube, and you get points accumulated that you can use to get one of 3 permanent items, but I'm hearing there's going to be 2 more boxes happening as well throughout this event. And at the very end, there is still a tournament going on, the community tournament for PMGC with Game TV. It's open to everyone out there, no matter what skill level. All you need to do is go register to play and get PMGC tokens and Google Play cards for yourself. So a lot for you guys to win. Obviously, a lot for all the teams and players to win with $6 million on the line over the course of this entire event. But as we can see here, a quick little recap of the day. Well, Genesis Dogma, MSC Chonburi, I mean, Damwon, we're seeing like a couple of new names in here that are actually great to see, especially MS Chonburi. I feel like we haven't seen in a very long time, as well as Damwon.
Yeah, you've mentioned it many times, Jason. Have we been seeing some improvements from some teams? And I would have to say, by watching the schedule of the day and how these chicken dinners went down, I would have to say yes to that question, actually. Genesis Dogma looking a lot more aggressive from time to time. MSC able to get himself to the late game a lot more. Sometimes maybe you'll got to be a little bit careful how you try and close the march behind yourself to make sure you don't have the same situation to happen with Sung and BTR in that Sanhok game. And talking about that Sanhok game, Sung just played that position so well to be able to snatch away the win literally from BTR and also from the side of MSC. So, I mean, yeah, if we can see even different teams get themselves some wins throughout these next 2 days of Super Weekend, I would be so pumped because it's good to see 3 wins not being given to the top teams. It's just a little bit more, a little bit closer towards the top, I would say now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're seeing the Infinity having to work even harder to get the better placings, or I guess the consistent placings we saw last week. Before we do head off, though, today, Taurus, I want to give you a chance to give, some highlights for you, your personal highlights of the show today.
I'm going to say Enigma Galaxy. I have to say, I have to do it for my boys. I've been casting them, through the 2 seasons of PMPL, and they've really shown some huge evolution in the way they play, ups and downs, and right now I think they're given the opportunity of a lifetime to bring it even further, to allow themselves to be in the clear, and we can see the true colors from that region.
Well, we're going to find out, though, if that region can continue showing those colors brightly as possible, because we do have to end off today. But we still have 5 matches tomorrow and 5 matches the day after. We'll be back at the exact same time, though, for some more PUBG Mobile action, so don't miss it.